story, dog? Where you been?
I've been in Boston. I had a great
Boston,
time.
You come back with the flu.
Not the flu.
You
I have
sat
a little
in the
bit of a
back
cold.
of a fucking plane,
I did sit in
breathing
the
that
back.
Hindu
Oh
dust.
my God.
And God knows what commemorates back there. What row were you in?
26.
Jesus Christ Almighty! How'd you end up back there?
Because what do you get when you fly
Don't
on
you
American?
know fucking people?
I don't know nobody.
You know people.
If you give me some miles, I don't know. But God. Yeah, yesterday was bad because the flight coming in from Chicago was delayed a little bit, and then the plane was like from 1987. It was like super old, but I had a great time.
On a cross-country flight.
Oh God, yeah.
Super old flight.
Yeah, and it didn't have like none of the monitors. It still had the flip down screens. Whatever. I haven't been back to Boston since a year ago, last May. So it was just great. I hadn't seen my mom for almost 9 months. It was just a good time to go home.
You went to the museum.
Yeah, we saw the Pixar exhibit, which was fun. We went to Fenway, and I almost started sobbing. I had to hold it together because my mom was there. Because I had my mom on my podcast, and she told a story when they thought I had cancer as a little kid, and luckily I didn't. And then the kid who threw out the first pitch at Fenway was like the 6-year-old who was born premature, just like me, and had beaten cancer. And he's walking out in the entire... The thing I love about Boston and the thing that bothers me about Dodgers, and I know when they have big games they go out, but for small games when they're not doing that well, I've been there and it hasn't been that great of an experience at Dodger Stadium. Fenway, we're 10 games under 500. The place is packed, and 40,000 people are cheering for the 6-year-old, and I'm just bawling. He threw a strike from the pitcher's mound. It was just I miss Boston sometimes.
Awesome. So you had a good time with the family.
Hell yeah. Went to Legals, got some chowder.
What else did you eat at Legals? Tell me
Fried
the truth.
shrimp.
It's chowder, isn't it?
What else?
Chowder, yeah. That's it. I got a Caesar salad too.
Caesar salad. Look at you.
Living like a
With
dog.
shrimp or chicken?
Not on the salad. No,
Just
I got
a
shrimp
regular
later.
Caesar salad.
Yeah, I don't mess with stuff on the salad. It's weird.
Beautiful.
What about you? Do you have a good weekend?
I had a nice weekend with the family. Went swimming. Did the whole fucking kid thing. What are you gonna do, Carl Turley? What's happening? You
How you
sexy
doing, man?
motherfucker.
It's good to be here.
What's going on, man? Everything all right?
Yeah, man. Everything's great.
Before the podcast, we were talking about billionaires.
School started.
School started.
Yeah. First day
Traffic
today.
is fucking back.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, man.
Traffic is back. People are stuck. They don't know how to make the left.
Oh.
But it's funny. We were talking about billionaires before the show started. What do you do? I mean, when you have 11, what were they worth between them?
Combined, like, because the owner himself owns like every sports team in Colorado. He owns the Rams, and then he owns one of those European soccer teams or football teams. So he has like almost 7, and his wife is the heiress to the Walmart fortune. So right now on Wikipedia it says almost 5. So it's like close to 11 or 12 combined.
What do you do when you got $5 billion? I would go to the bank.
Whatever the fuck you want.
Let's say the bank opens at 9. I'm there at 9:01.
You never go to the bank.
I go to the drive-through window.
The bank comes to you.
And the bank goes beep, and I go, fuck you, and I drive away. That's what I do, 9:01 every day. Just go to the bank and say, fuck you.
Yeah.
I own this motherfucker.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's pretty much.
Yeah,
$4.8 billion.
They own banks.
I never
That's what you
dreamed
do
of
when-
having money like that. I
you
wouldn't
have
know
that
how to
kind of
act.
money.
I wouldn't know how to fucking behave myself.
I
Now
mean-
I do, but not 20 years ago when you're a college student. Somebody hands you $14 million signing bonus or whatever the fuck they do.
Yeah,
But that shows how
I got that.
That shows how much like it. Everyone
It's
always
crazy.
says like sports athletes are overpaid, but if the owners have that much money, it shows you how much they're really not making that much comparatively when you think about it.
At the end of the day.
Yeah, at the end of the day, with the like you said it a bunch where like the UFC's like, oh, we're doing it great every once a weekend, but your college football brings in sellouts
Every weekend.
40 times a weekend.
40 times a Saturday.
Alabama has a $25 million surplus.
They just bought Nick Saban's house for him just because, like last year. Like
You have a college that
boosters.
has a $25 million surplus. That's just one school. And they talk about cutting kids' tuitions, and we can't staff teachers. And the NCAA is a racket. They're making, I mean, you got 32 NFL football teams, right? And they're worth $1 billion apiece, roughly. How many NCAA colleges are there? All the conferences, the whole SEC each team is worth almost $1 billion because they control the whole state.
what was it like for you as a college player? Like with Like there was that
Shitty.
that
I was
basketball
at
player.
San Diego State.
Yeah. Well, they had that
We did-
basketball player who was like on the national championship team and said he couldn't afford food and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
oh yeah,
And
yeah. You got to work, man. I mean, I was a kid. I was one of 5 kids. My dad was a truck driver. There was no money. There was no extra. I wasn't going to college if it wasn't for football, you know. So going to school was challenging as a student athlete because of the demand. You know, the other students they see you get a free school, this, that, the other, but you're full time for them. You're pretty much a slave for them. I mean, you are up, and if you're not at class on time, you're running. If you aren't eating, you're running. If you're not making weight, if you're not doing this and doing that, making practices, you know, your life is controlled. So you are 100% owned by them. Your off season is the only time that you can have a job as a college athlete. You can't have a job, so you can't have any money. So try to be an offensive lineman, putting on weight and all that stuff, you know, it takes money. You got to buy extra food. That meal ticket doesn't cover, you know, 4 steaks a day, you know, 20 chicken breasts, you know, that doesn't get covered on your meal card. So it puts guys in a bind in a big way. That's why you got Jameis Winston stealing crab legs. He's won the Heisman Trophy. You know, he's made $1 billion for the school or whatever. I don't know how many millions, but may as well be.
they were flying him on a private jet, I think, between
Yeah.
football and baseball because he wanted to do both.
Right, you know, he's flying on private jets. He sees these coaches. I mean, we had a coach at San Diego State that just left and went to Michigan a few years ago, Brady Hoke, and had 2 good years. Brought the San Diego State Aztecs up to another, height of recognition where we were at. You know, we came off of Marshall Faulk years. Then we had our years. We broke Marshall Faulk's records, big time receiving core, #1 offense in the country. All the guys on our offensive line played in the NFL, et cetera. And then we kind of got lost. And then this coach comes back. He brings the program back up. He's here for like 2 years. And then he gets, Michigan comes in on a private jet, picks him up, gives him a big multi-million-dollar deal. San Diego State can't match it, because they don't put any money into football. They only put it into basketball. And they take him away, and he goes, and the players see that. They see, how can't I just go get a pair of shorts from somebody, or trade my shorts for a tattoo, and you get to be here and make millions of dollars, and then you're not contractually obligated. I can't just get up and go to another school if I don't like it here. I have to sit out for a whole year, miss a whole year of ball. But these coaches, they float around. This whole lifestyle's floated around. So what do these kids have to look at? And these are the examples. It's like Chris Carter and get a fall guy. It's like they perpetuate that whole thing. And the owners and now Chris Carter's surprised. I didn't see realize till just now when I watched it. It's been up on the NFL's fucking website. He's watched it before. This is a perpetuated mentality, man. And these kids are get in trouble for it, man.
It's weird when you're growing up and you're watching college football. For me, it was college basketball and college football and pro everything, and you watch this, and as a kid, you're like, "Fuck, I could do this. I could just go to school, take a few classes, lift some weights, and go to college and shit." And then you realize there's so much more involved. Like there's so much more that you have to. You just don't show up. There's paperwork and this and that and P-test, and you have to do this and sit with this guy once a week, and
you don't get to go to college. Kids get to go to college, and they get upset because they have to work this, that, and the other. But they can go to parties. They can have fun. You have to commit if you want to keep that scholarship and you want to get to where you're trying to go, which is the National Football League. You got to fully commit. You got to give up spring breaks. You got to give up everything. I mean, you got to train constantly. That's your job. You have a job, and it is full time. If you are dedicated to it, you're one of the best, and you want to honor that scholarship. That's a full-time gig, and being a student athlete was rough. I mean, and then there's the really stupid things like we just talked about. I mean, I had to pay back my last semester my scholarship because I signed up for all my classes, credit, no credit, instead of getting a grades. And I had switched my major mid-career, so I was able to pick a bunch of courses that I hadn't taken yet that were all kind of general education types of classes. And I could take them credit, no credit. So, I'd go on test days and like every other student does, and I'd just show up and I'd, fail, I'm sure, because these are classes like science and English and all these, where you're reading books and you got to really study. And I'm just like, I got to focus. I committed to staying at the school. I could have came out my junior year. I committed to, stay and try to become a better player and get drafted higher and represent the school. I did, got drafted 7th pick overall. And
7th pick in the first round?
Yeah, 7th pick. San Diego State, offensive lineman. I beat all the SECs, all the Big Ten, It was crazy, man. And they made me pay back my scholarship because I only went on test days and the days I thought, got everybody else away with it, and I just take them no credit. So then it wouldn't count against they try to screw me over. I got a letter in the mail. You owe us $20,000, like, okay.
Unbelievable.
All right, then.
So the day you get drafted, the fucking blue ink ain't even dry on the check.
Yeah.
And they're already calling
The school,
you going,
the
by
school,
the way,
the first one of the first bills I got once I got drafted and made it to the National Football League was from San Diego State University for $20,000.
Who was the second? Columbia House? That's the second bill that comes in the strike take. Remember when you
all the parking tickets is what it
all
was.
Those fucking parking tickets.
Yeah, the city of San Diego. We need all that parking money.
Jesus Christ. 7th overall. That is just a...
Were you in the Madison Square Garden or wherever they held it?
No, it wasn't as big of a deal as it is now. It's really commercialized now.
What year was this? 2000?
98.
98.
98.
Okay.
So it was still Tagliabue, and it was just starting to get a little silly, with the media. But it wasn't as big a deal. So I just stayed out in Moreno Valley, out where I grew up, in the valley out there in the desert, man, and had a party at my mom's house in the cul-de-sac and invited everybody over.
That's a great fucking way to do it. Nice and simple.
Yeah, man.
So now you got drafted by who?
New Orleans.
New Orleans.
Yep, Mike Ditka.
And then you went there
Coach.
you got traded immediately.
No. I got drafted by Coach Ditka to New Orleans, was there for 5 years, and then they traded me to St. Louis. Yeah, unfortunately. Mickey Loomis traded me. And, that was how it went.
What'd you think of the Saints when you were down there?
That's my team, man. I got fleur-de-lis all over me. That's a special place. It still holds a special place in my heart. I haven't set foot in the Superdome since I left. I've had plenty of opportunities and made a lot of excuses to get around it, and out of a lot of invitations just because it means a lot, man. That was a pretty special place to be in New Orleans. You've been there, and anybody who's gone there and experienced that city, can attest to that. It's just a different place.
Were you there during Katrina?
I went after Katrina. I was not on the team. I was in St. Louis. I had just gotten traded. I was down. I was after 2003 season. And then I was down in Mexico at the time. I had a house down there. And we saw the storm coming on the radar, on the TV, and it tore up the city. And so we flew back early and loaded up a truck of supplies and stuff. I raised a bunch of money and cleared out a Sam's Club and hauled it down in an 18-wheeler. My dad was a truck driver. And drove it from St. Louis all the way down to New Orleans for the cops and the firemen, because all those guys are my buddies. And I knew I couldn't get a hold of any of them. The phones were all down. Everything was down. And so we drove that truck down, got in, and they waved us right on through. And we spent about a week down there helping clean up and all that. The team was in San Antonio at the time. They moved away. All right. Okay, sorry about that.
Katrina was fucking crazy, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like it was...
It was nuts.
My friends were down there either shooting a movie or had just finished, and they did all this stuff. And they went back after the hurricane, and they shot where they were shooting, like the dock where they had shot, gone.
Yeah.
Like nothing was left.
Yeah.
And now it's 10 years. I think ABC's doing some special this weekend about
Yeah.
the 10-year anniversary of Katrina and whatnot. You know what?
Oh, I could put
You're
a
a
book.
mumbling, bumbling little fucking cocksucker.
It's my fault. I didn't have the mic where it needed to be.
No, he's always kicking over something. No, just hitting the button when the music's on. He ain't even fucking high yet. He's he's straight yet. He's doing shit. He just trips.
What are
It's
you
a lot
gonna
of
do?
wires, man. A lot of wires.
It's a lot of fucking
Mission
wires.
I'm not an
control over
athlete.
here.
Yeah.
You're a fucking tremendous athlete.
Oh no, I'm not. I'm terrible.
Yes, you are. You got light feet. Like, you can move like a break dancer. I've seen you fucking do your thing. You just nobody ever forced you no more. You don't wanna-
What is it like to be traded, man? That must be. That's kind of crazy when you think about it. Like
it
you
was
can just send you
weird.
somewhere else.
Now,
Yeah.
were you on the trading block? Did you know you were going to get traded? Here's this team you love.
Yes
you did
and
well
no.
with them.
I had another year on my contract, but they had just fired. Like they were in talks with my agent about renewing my contract, extending it, making me a Saint for life. But it was Randy Mueller who was the general manager, and Randy Mueller, all of a sudden, after like my agent's telling me the deal's done, we're going to lock this up before the season starts, and you'll be a Saint for life. Cool. I'm not asking for anything more than what I deserve. Should be a no-brainer. I proved myself to the team. And then out of nowhere, he gets fired. Like one day, he calls me up and he says, "Kyle, Tom Benson, he's senile or something." He's like, I don't understand it. Something, and he just fired me, and I'm like, what? This is the general manager, and he'd only been there for like a year or 2 years, and we won. Like we were winning. It was a great team, and fired, and he called me, and then all of a sudden the guy that was in the back room, Mickey Loomis, who is now this big famous guy, was just crunching numbers. He was the numbers guy for them, for Randy Mueller's crew when they were in Seattle and running a show up there. And he came to New Orleans and was just crunching numbers. He was the guy that you sat down with when they redid the contract or whatever and worked out all your numbers. And then he became the general manager. So, the owner at the time, pre-Super Bowl, pre all the new money that he's got, I guess was, stretched pretty thin. So he was not wanting to spend the money too. And that general manager, Mickey Loomis, was, set on, I guess, making a statement with me, I guess, contractually, as to what kind of general manager he was going to be, So a lot of things just started slinging around, and he was, talking a bunch of shit about me behind my back to my agent. And my agent was like, "KT, you're not going to believe what he said." And I'm like, you shouldn't be telling me this, because now I'm just pissed, And I remember after a game one time, and he came in the locker room, and we had just beaten somebody, and it was a big win. And he came in and he said, he's shaking everybody's hands, coming around, and he had just been hearing all this stuff he's talking to my agent about now, because now the contract, was done. It's not done no
Not
more.
done anymore, right?
And so, now I'm sitting here kind of got to wait and see and feel out this new guy, what he's intended for me. And he's coming around the locker room and, "Great game, great." And I turn around and, "Don't get the fuck out of my face, man. Don't act like you're my friend. I thought we were cool. Yeah, I guess we're not. You said some shit that I don't appreciate. So keep on fucking down the line telling all these guys you're, congratulations, because I don't want to hear it from you." And then that just kind of snowballed into a lot of different things. They're talking about giving, and the owner now is in some big tiff with his granddaughter, who at the time he was talking about, grooming her up, Rita, to be this new owner. She's going to take over, and it was just like, I knew 5 dudes on the team that she'd been with, making out with married dudes and on retreats and shit, guys from the team and stuff. Like, this bitch was fucked. And I was just like, and then they started trading everybody away. Traded Willie Rofe away. Traded Chris Naoli away. Started trading everybody away. Like, what are you guys doing? And I was like, and now you're going to start talking shit about me. I might have given it, sorry if you would have treated me well, but I'm sorry you didn't. And And it was a situation where I just kind of felt like, hey, you guys don't want me there, then fucking trade me, okay? I'm tired of dealing with this bullshit. I don't need this. I don't need you coming back and forth about me and talking this about me. I've given everything I've had to this organization and then some. And it's on film. You know, whatever the fuck you think you've done for this team, you can go fuck yourself. And agent called me when I was over in some union meetings in Hawaii and said, hey, KT, they want to trade you to the Rams. I said, fine, fuck them.
How were the Rams? How long were you there for?
That was, it would have been a good situation had I not gotten injured, man. Blew my back out. And that was, at the same time, I could have made it back with them had they given me a proper chance. It was a serious injury, surgery was involved, the whole deal. And, it was an injury that really took me down, So I was, had one great year, made All-Pro, my first year there, and represented what I could do for the team. Unfortunately, suffered an injury. They contributed to heavily in neglect. I was complaining of things that were telltale signs of that something's going on with my back. All the sciatica nerves and all that stuff. And they were just, hey, we'll just shoot you up. Shoot you up with all these drugs, with Toradol and cortisone. Numb it, and it's something in your hip. It's no big deal. We'll see it after the season's over with. After the season comes up. Oh, wow, you've got a herniated disc the size of a fucking golf ball. Oh, that's why you can't get out of bed now. And that's why it's starting to seize up now after the season's over with, because your body, you're not moving around like you were. You're not working out like you were. Now, all of a sudden, you're relaxing and laying down, trying to take a load off for a few weeks, and all of a sudden you get out of bed wrong one day, and boop, there it goes all the way, And, could have been resolved probably with some rest and take a couple games off, or treatment, and it wouldn't have been as severe as it was. We probably never would have even had to face surgery. But, that's the way they ran the show. And then I got involved with Mike Martz and that whole deal. It was, another ego guy that thought he had the right to say what was going on with a player that had a serious injury, and didn't want to understand that, this guy that hasn't missed a down of football in 6 years since he started in this league, or a practice for that matter, is complaining about something and not really kind of complaining, just kind of saying, hey, I don't know, I don't feel right, should I be out here right now? They rushed me, and they screwed that up during the season, and then they put me back in 4 months off of back surgery, and I didn't know, they're in charge of the whole deal. You're in their doctor's care. I never had a back injury before. I didn't understand what, that involved with rehabilitation, et cetera. And then I go back to training camp, blow my back out again, because I went to him and said, hey, man, I don't feel right. Like the first couple days of training camp, I said, I thought I was in better shape right now, but my leg is way behind. I don't feel good. I think I need to really kind of reevaluate my situation here and maybe rehab a bit stronger right now, because I'm feeling really weak in certain areas. No, you're fine. You had the surgery. It's okay. Boom. Came back into practice. Okay, I'll keep going. Keep telling me I'm fine. You trust so long, and it just keeps continuing to bite you in the ass, and then you kind of get fed up, And at that point, then I started, continuing my admissions to the media and, delving some information about how things were going, and people don't like that. They don't want critical thinkers. They don't want people to step out of line, and when it becomes that kind of a relationship, you're just a disposable number after an injury like that. So they were able to no guarantee contracts in the NFL. See you later. Cut you. Now you're back in the market where you just signed a multi-million-dollar contract. Now you're looking at league minimum with a split, craziness.
It moves
man.
fucking fast, brother.
Yeah.
And the bottom line is you have to stay healthy. because they got 3 guys in line to fill
Oh,
your
yeah.
fucking thing.
Yeah.
So now you have a child, you have a big house, you bought that fucking boat.
It's more
on
than
the lake.
staying healthy, though. It's a lot of politics.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, it's more than staying, because that's what it was for me. You know, if it was
And
just about
politics
staying
you don't
healthy,
need. And it's politics you don't need and you never knew were there.
Yeah.
It exists with stand-up comedy. It
Oh,
exists
yeah.
with acting.
Yep.
You know, this guy has this movie role. You're perfect
Yep.
for it. Well, we think Paul Rudd would be better. What the fuck are you talking about? But it's just, there's so many variables to make a decision sometimes
Yeah.
that you don't know at the time.
Oh, yeah.
And you don't understand.
Yeah.
I think that happens in like regular offices too. Like, oh, will you come in this weekend?
Oh, totally.
Will you work for free? It's just,
Yeah.
it's amazing how, like, it's your entire. How long have you been playing football?
I didn't start playing until I was a senior in high school.
Oh,
so-
okay.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. One of those stories.
But even then, you put 4 years of college and then what, 6 years in
5,
the NFL?
redshirted. So yeah, high school, then 5 of college, and then 9 technically in the NFL.
Now, when you get redshirted, you still play. You still practice. I'm sorry. You still
yeah,
prac-
you're just a
Yeah,
practice dummy.
Practice dude. Yeah,
Yeah,
you just
you
you
play-
go out there and you rock too.
Oh yeah,
Fuck it, that's your
yeah.
game.
Yeah, right.
So
yeah.
you just rock
yeah,
the
definitely.
house.
Yeah, I mean, and if you go to a good college, then you know you're coming out of high school and you're running scout team for the big boys. You know, you're going against the first team. You know, you're coming straight out of high school. That's a. I remember this dude from L.A., Carson Liamidi, man. This dude, massive, and he come around the corner on a trap play, man, and just launched me like 5 yards. You know, this dude was 350, big old Samoan Polynesian cat, man, massive, and just came around the corner blazing fast. This guy was, for as big as he was, unbelievable, and. You know, he ended up, a lot of Aztecs go in the movies after college, but he ended up in Armageddon. He got crushed in the streets of New York. Big old Samoan dude, I think, cooking out
In the
on the
beginning.
street. In the beginning.
Yeah, with Eddie Griffin. And
Yeah,
all
yeah,
that
yeah. And Carson, that was him. Yeah.
It just, you know, you grow up with a certain set of values, and especially from the Midwest or whatever. Your dad's a truck driver. You make it to a team. You play your heart out, and they push you out as soon as something slips up. Something, and that's, hey, listen, man. Now with 30-30
Yeah.
and all that shit, I did. You know, one of the best things about the longest yard was I spent the weekend in a jacuzzi with Bosworth and a
Right,
bunch of other guys.
right, yeah. You got the stories.
And Bosworth told me that story, and I went upstairs and it fucked with me for a couple of days
Yeah.
because you don't see that. These are the things that people at home don't fucking have a clue about. They don't know what the fuck is going on, you know.
Yeah.
And they're the same people that call those sports talk radios, and he's a bum. You don't know
Yeah.
what the fuck's going on in your
Well,
personal
that's
life.
all they show, you know. They show the glitz and the glamour. Look at that Ballers show, you know, that's on TV right now. That's all they want to show, you know. They don't want to make a movie about Junior Seau, you know. They don't want to do that.
Now when your friend contacted me, the Cuban guy, and then
Yeah.
I'm like, why is he contacting me? I know Kyle should be hit me up direct. One of the things I looked at, that's big right now. And
Well, that was Daniel. Yeah, that's from the justcoolme.org. That's,
Okay, right.
That's one of the other things I'm working on, opposed to what you're about to talk about there. But yeah, Daniel got in touch with you, and we're doing it's all intertwined. Yeah, I got a lot of good things and some charities I'm working with, and that revolves a lot around what that is.
you know, with all this MMA, have you thought about getting into MMA? And smacking some motherfuckers, get some good size to you?
No. I had the brief thought. You know, I was a wrestler. That was my sport. So I know I'd do really well. But I should have went to Iowa State, actually, because I could have wrestled and played football. Coached by Bobby Douglas. I think he was Bobby Douglas.
You're
up
huge.
there.
What weight did you wrestle out in high school?
My senior year, I had to wrestle heavyweights. They didn't have a 220 weight pound class, but I was about 220 my senior year, so that was heavyweight. But then I went I wrestled since I was like 7th grade, and all through high school and in the summers at freestyle programs, etc. And then I qualified for the state games. I was like really torn because I wanted to, if there was money in wrestling, I would have just committed to wrestling. But football gave me the scholarship. I had to go to training camp instead of going to state games and giving it a shot because I started finally putting on weight. I didn't play till my senior year of high school. So then I started lifting weights and getting big, strong, and became a really good wrestler and had some great coaches. So, all the cards were set there. But the MMA thing, it was it's more of what's going on with the brain, that keeps me from doing that. In two ways, in that I know personally if I'm in there, and I know a lot of guys, say it, but I wouldn't stop, and I would do things. I couldn't control myself, like it's a fight, and just because of the brain issue, it's taken me to a different place when that kicks in. It's a whole nother world, and it's kind of a scary place. So, not really something I like to tap into too much, because bad things tend to happen to other people.
Hold that thought 1 second. Where's Tony Bennett at? Is he ready to ride?
Yes, he is.
This is why I love you, Lee. You're always thinking. A little something just to
There you go.
fuck it.
Yeah, man.
You're an interesting fucking dude. I want to get to this. Oh shit, Lee. Tomorrow, kettlebell class. Don't stand next to me coughing and shit. 11 o'clock.
Hell yeah, I'll be there.
It's you watch these football players. I don't know what year. I'm not good with years. With the leather helmets on out there, blasting themselves, and then, when I was growing up, I saw people fucking bombard each other. I grew up during the Pittsburgh Steelers era.
It was awesome.
With Jack Ham and Lambert and Mean Joe Green and, Lester the Molester out there fucking slamming people and Ronnie Lott. And you're at home watching TV and you're like, this is fucking great. And then years later, you don't even know what the fuck you're thinking about. You're up at 2 a.m, you're smoking a joint, and there's a documentary on Earl Campbell, who's in a fucking wheelchair, and I remember sitting there on Monday nights crying in my living room. Him running in without a fucking shoe on.
Yeah.
I remember they took his fucking shoe to one time. He scored a touchdown with Syatt.
Really?
Yeah, it was amazing. It was just
Yep.
Monday nights.
Yep, ran out there without a shoe.
And seeing 40,000 people with little blue flags going like this, and they were singing, and it's crazy. And now you're seeing this man in this fucking wheelchair, and then, you just hear all these little things over the years. I grew up a football fan, guys. I bet I took fucking San Francisco plus the 1 against the Dallas Cowboys in '81. I love all that shit. I just don't now because, you grow up and you get involved in other things and you don't have time to catch up with the teams like you did when you were in high school and college.
I'm still a big football fan, but
I understand, but
it's hard to support them, especially when they take such strong stances against steroids and they take strong stances against what's going on with Brady. But then they'll sell these highlight videos of the greatest hits, like the best hits of the season or whatever. And then, like you said, you see players walking around.
It's all good though,
It's all good.
The thing is that every player would gladly, still to this day, he would be sitting in wheelchairs proud. I have to walk a cane every now and then. My body locks up. That sciatic nerve just fires up sometimes, and shuts me down. I gotta use a cane, and I'm on a cane. I'm barely turning 40 this year, and I'm on a cane a lot, just because I'd still like to stay in shape, and the injuries are what they are, and it just puts me down like that sometimes. But I walk proud with that. That's my badge of honor. I've had a cane before, it broke on me, but I had it all stickered up with my helmet stickers. This is why I got this cane. And I tell these kids, I'm like, don't feel bad for anybody that got hurt playing football. What you should feel bad for is that these motherfuckers don't care to take care of dudes. We have a problem in this country with understanding that there's a responsibility. They parade around this whole family talk all the time. in sports. But then when serious things happen to people in this supposed family, they just shut them out. I mean, it goes, down to the kids, and it's the worst. I mean, Pop Warner right now, you got a handful of kids every year that die and are put in spinal situations.
Why is this?
And they don't take care of them.
Why is this?
I just visited this kid in Moreno Valley, and he's got a lawsuit against the Pop Warner League right now because they just turned their back and walked away. He made a tackle in a game. He was a star player, and he ended up getting paralyzed, and he sits in a wheelchair now. And there was no insurance policy for catastrophic injury, that now has caused his family to have to move from Long Beach to Moreno Valley and live in an apartment, in Moreno Valley. That's, and guys like myself and other people that hear about these stories are the ones who they're, going to try and go and help this kid. Why aren't these Pop Warner leagues trying to help them? Why isn't the National Football League, who has a monopoly on football and relationships with these colleges and, little leagues and et cetera, to promote their game, create programs like they do for everything else to help take care of these people? Because at the end of the day, we know the risk. We understand there's risk. I saw Dennis Byrd go down, when he was playing for the Jets, and he came around that corner and pow, and he's down and he's paralyzed. You don't think that's as scary as the brain injury or death? We've known this for a long time, but what we haven't done is taken care of these guys when they've gotten hurt. And the unions and the league, they don't honor injury situations and disability benefits. I mean, that's what's created all these problems. You'd have all these old guys on canes and in wheelchairs at all the games with their jerseys on, proud.
So as a retired player, what do
if you
you
took
get?
care of them.
Like, what do you get now as a retired player for any benefits? Anything?
Luckily, I got a good lawyer because that's what it takes. You don't just leave the game with the benefits that you deserve. You don't, when you can't play anymore as a football player, it's because you can't play anymore. It's not because you're not good anymore. In majority of cases, this is because you can't play anymore because you've received that injury that has, took you a step back, or, for most guys, really crippled you. You don't walk away from this game. You gimp away.
Now let me ask you something, because this is what's got me baffled, or maybe I'm missing something. Where I grew up, Kyle, huge football.
Yeah.
Northern New Jersey, huge football. I was always a basketball kid early on, and I knew I would play football eventually, but for the most part, I got left back, and I sucked so bad that I focused on basketball, and we turned the team around from 0-7 to 4-3. But I had friends that played football. Today, I talked to Mike Askeles. He's the high school coach's son. He left me a message. He emailed me a couple days ago, and we were going back and forth on the topic. How come when I was growing up, I didn't hear I don't know how to say this, Lee. I didn't hear as much about concussions and serious head injuries in football as I'm hearing now. Is it the helmets? Are we getting stronger? Are the kids?
No, those statistics haven't changed. They've been pretty consistent over the years and the decades of how many kids die every year, and the spinals, et cetera. And it's not a question of gear, because you can't make a good enough helmet to stop it. Until the government releases their technology, that they're using to fly around in their spaceships, we're not going to resolve the concussion issue, until we can float the brain without causing damage to it because of momentum and laws of motion. There's nothing that can be done except treatment and protocol. And for too long, and why you didn't hear about it, is because it was no big deal. You just got your bell rung, and whatever. And then all these social problems that stemmed from it, that we just kind of pawn off as getting old, or or that was just the game, whatever. It's just natural progression. It wasn't. It's because of an injury, and we haven't addressed the injury, and that's what's lacked. They didn't want to acknowledge it. They didn't want to, and they went out of their way. Furthermore, that's why they cost them $1 billion plus lawsuit. At the end of the day.
So the NFL did get sued for this.
Oh yeah, they settled. It's an open-ended lawsuit right now. It's hanging up because of a couple appeals. But this is a multi-billion-dollar lawsuit. They just, said, okay, fine, we'll pay it, because there's evidence that they intentionally hid the damage and the knowledge that they knew about concussions, the damage that it caused and what it did since '96. And they waited 10 years before finally not really admitting it, because they haven't admitted it. It's still as a part of the settlement. Even it's like you throw a couple billion, multi-billions of dollars at this thing. It's open-ended, so who knows where it's going to go.
Was it enough? I heard a lot of criticism when it happened.
Oh, yeah.
That it wasn't enough money.
Well, it's supposed to be open-ended, but the structure of the settlement and who's supposed to get it is still in question, because they're still trying to say you can't see this disease until you're dead, which is a bunch of bullshit. They've got a bunch of scans out there now that can show this disease, show it very clearly. I've been a part of 2 studies back in Boston that clearly show CTE, this disease, in the brain. But until there's enough time of study with these scans that are, new and unproven, they're allowed to just continue to, kick the can down the road and say, well, we don't know if these players got this disease. You can see it on a basic MRI scan. I've had 2 on my brain, or 3, and it's a big blurred mass. When my brain comes up, there's an area right in the front of my skull and my brain that is just a dark blurred mass. And all the doctors, every time I get it scanned, get all freaked out, and they
How many
start coming
concussions
around.
did you have?
2 documented in the NFL, which was quite rare. And but knowing what a concussion is, I've had hundreds. Over the course of my career, played 109 games, I think, and all the training camps, etc. That's a lot of concussions.
You're earning a fucking job in training.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
not. You're earning a fucking job. And
It used to be that way. Now it's not. It's a year-round deal, so they don't have to, or at least because of a lot of people fighting, against these teams just running their ships like slave owners, man. Some of these training camps were just brutal. Killing guys, literally. Corey Stringer, and so we had to fight a lot for getting these guys to where they're at today, because we had to go through the trenches, literally. It was Louisiana, Thibodaux, Louisiana, just 100, asking a trainer one day, how hot is it, man? And he's in the shade, and he says, it's 135. And you're like, what? Oh my God.
And humid as fuck.
Oh my God.
Pads, helmets,
gloves,
the whole fucking
tape,
deal.
socks, shoes, double pairs of socks, shoes. You're every time you step, enough sweat's coming through the holes of your shoes, the air holes, just, and sweat is just billowing up out of the holes, squishing out every time you take a step. And it's like, every guy. Yeah. Coaches getting life flighted from the field, players getting ambulance, emergency to the hospital, body locks, full body lock, cramp. All day long, players, left and right. We had ambulance coming every day, multiple times, taking guys out. And they were just like, all right, we had a trainer got fired for that because he was opposed to it. And they brought in this guy had been the trainer for 30 years, Dean Kleinschmidt, and he was opposed to the owner bringing the Saints camp back to Louisiana. And that was kind of the beginning of the fall, where I started to see the writing on the wall, like, what the fuck? These guys are just all about money, man. This is not about the dream and the game like they talk about, This is all about money.
How disappointing is it when you find out it's all about the money? And
Really
it
disappointing.
really fucks with you.
Yeah, it really does as an athlete, because you fought for that dream so hard, you know, to get to that level is, I mean, you're, I mean, 1 in a million, you know, multi-million, 1 in a billion, you know. I mean, to be the best, especially to rise to the level of being recognized as one of the best that's ever, you know, that's playing the game. That's just, it's tough when you see those types of things filter in, you know. And then when it comes your time to, you know, for them to acknowledge you, I guess, you know, in contract situations, et cetera, like we talked about, then it you know, it's really jades you, man. It's a rough pill to swallow, you know, because it's not like any other occupation where you just sat in a classroom and you did a lot of mental work, this, that, and the other. You literally, there's blood, sweat, and tears, you know, that go into this. Literal. People can say they worked hard to become this or to become that, you know, and they put their time in. But as a football player, especially back in the day, to make it to the National Football League took a tremendous amount of sacrifice. You know, I mean, I gave up college. I worked for the Aztecs for 5 years because I wanted to make it to the National Football League. It was a full-time job, and you know, and literal, I mean, injuries, blown out knees and backs, and getting into, you know, go rush into surgery, rush into rehab, rush back to the field, you know, get back in, constantly pushing your body.
And the whole time they're telling you you're 2 days away, you'll be fine.
No, yeah, of course they give
They
you
don't give a
all
fuck.
they give you all the clearance, and you know, to go back.
Kind of what Joey was talking about earlier with are they getting bigger? I was the least athletic kid in my school, so just if I'm wrong, tell me. But it seems like a lot more now kids are playing the sport all year round and going to camps and getting a lot of more specialized training. So they're probably having all these injuries, like you said, like that kid in Pop Warner.
Mm-hmm.
They're probably having like 10 knee surgeries by the time they get to the NFL or just something.
Oh yeah, kids are getting burnt out these days, big time. It's not just football; it's every sport. You know, I mean, these parents today. I was coaching Little League and helped coach basketball back in Tennessee when I was living in Nashville. And I mean, no matter where it's at now, it's like these parents are just, and maybe that's how it's always been. But you know, some of these people just think that their kid's going pro. You know, and it's like they keep them from being a kid. That's fine if you think your kid's going pro, but you know, you got to let them be a kid. You know, they're just wearing these kids out, man. And these parents, as soon as their kid shows that they're good at one thing better than, you know, the others, they just focus on that one thing. And it really sets these kids up, I think, for real bad disappointment and failure, you know, and is, you know, just not a good thing psychologically. I mean, especially with football, because football is, it's a whole nother animal, you know. I mean, that literal blood part is inevitable. You know, the brain injury is inevitable. We know that now, you know, and every parent should know that. You put your kid in football, he's getting brain damage, okay? You put your 5-year-old kid into football right now, you're giving him brain damage, okay? As much as you're telling him to do his homework and get good grades so he can make it to the next level to play this game, you know, it's counterproductive to what he's doing, you know. So you know, it's people got to start waking up to the realities of the human body. It has only so much to give before it needs time to recover, and people don't let it recover enough, no matter what it is, you know.
So now you retire from St. Louis. What's the first thing you did?
Well, I didn't retire from St. Louis. They released me, and then that put me back out there. I was out of football for 2 years, or a full year. I was out of a contract in 2005, and then made it back to play. I rehabbed my ass off and ended up getting clearance to go back to play, and wound up pushing 2 more years out of it with the Chiefs and in Kansas City there, and you know, was able to walk away tall, you know, that I went back and made it back. I mean, my 2 best games, most memorable, obviously, you know, my first game when I came in, but the most memorable was my comeback. You know, making it back from a major back injury. I mean, I lost a bunch of weight. I had to just get, you know, the whole Rocky thing, you know, I'm back in the gym, I'm going to do it again type of deal. And, just really hunkered down, went to amazing training facilities, and worked with all my old people again, to get it back. And I made it, and, that first game back was just unreal adrenaline. So it was a good career, I'm glad it went the way it did, because it exposed me to a lot of the things that I've, been working on for the past years that I've been retired, with retired player issues, and really being vocal about it, because having to go through that process of being the top and then taken all the way back to the bottom and experiencing what the average player in the National Football League experiences was priceless. I lost a bunch of money, and had to play for league minimum, all that stuff, and really grind it out, earn my job again, where I had just earned it by the way I played the game, but now you're injured and you made a comeback. They say, so you got to fight for your job again now. Okay. When they know you're the guy still, but you got to prove it. And so fought through all that, man. And it was an eye-opening experience, and then over that course of time, a lot of things happened with the retired players, and it was,
You saw behind the curtain,
yeah,
and ba-boom,
oh,
there
yeah.
we are.
Yeah, big time.
Once
Yeah.
you see behind the curtain, and it really affects you. And
Kind of wish I didn't.
no, you never. Once you see behind the curtain and
It's-
you
it-
experience it,
yeah.
and you live it, you go, I wish I wouldn't have seen behind. I tell Lee 1,000 times,
Yeah.
Lee, I loved comedy till I started getting paid.
Right.
I loved it. I loved the excitement of going out and hustling and eating a burger or whatever they gave you at the club, and you went home. Once it got into money, it's where it sucks. Comedy just blows.
Yeah.
On both sides.
Yeah.
Now I have to be something for sure.
Right.
You follow me? When I'm a
Yeah.
feature, I don't have to be anything. I just do 30 minutes and I go home and they give me a flat fucking fee.
Well, I mean, we've talked a lot. It seems like there's a lot of parallels between sports and entertainment. We talked a lot about what happened to Mitch Hedberg. You and I have talked about that a lot, that they just kept putting him out there. And then he ends up dead.
They ended up dead. They didn't care. They cared, but they didn't care. And I understand it. I got a $10,000 weekend for you.
Yeah.
Come on, let's go.
Yeah.
And I got 3 more behind that. And instead of going, you know what? Take 4 months out of it. We just worked together for a year. I know you got $100,000 put away. Take 6 weeks off and call me back, and I'll have a whole list. But for those 6 weeks, I want to see you lifting weights. I'll meet you once a week at the Improv.
It's
we'll
all
drink some
that's the
water.
hustle, man.
That's the hustle. You're
gotta-
absolutely right.
It is what it is. I don't regret one
Fuck no.
bit of it.
Fuck no.
I love
Fuck no.
all the things that happened to me, because it's made me who I am in all its good ways and bad ways. But at the end of the day, I'm going to be able to, and my life is just going to be able to pass priceless knowledge to my kids, and to a lot of other kids out there that decide to look into who was this guy, what was this about, and hopefully at the end of the day they learn something, and it's all been a part of the plan. I really feel that there's a whole divinity around it, as well as it's just the world. But for a lot of reasons, things happen, man. And entertainment is entertainment, though, with whatever it is, comedy, music. I mean, I've toured the country coast to coast 2-3 times playing music now since, I've stayed in this entertainment business, and I've experienced. I knew exactly what you're talking about with just having a burger, and being at the bar with the bartender after the show,
Jesus,
and
what
the
a great
staff,
feeling.
and over at the merch booth, and just shaking hands, and just at the end of the day sitting back on the bus or in the green room and just going,
That was amazing. It was
Yeah,
fun. We tried that jokingly. It
I'd,
worked.
I'd go back today if my body would allow it. I'd go back to playing football right now.
Knowing everything you know?
Oh yeah, 100%.
League minimum?
League minimum.
Per
If
diem?
I could do it physically, unfortunately, I'm not Randy Moss, so I can't. Apparently, he's going
That'd
back
be
to
crazy
play.
if he came back.
Yeah, he says he's coming back, man. So we'll see. It'd be awesome to see an old guy out there.
I feel differently when it comes to all that stuff, man.
Yeah.
I feel that, especially if you played football since the high school level, and then I think after 37, 38 without a little help.
Yeah, it's rough.
It's very rough.
Oh, yeah.
Your eyes, your
Everything.
hand to eye. You know, I
I've
don't
lost
know.
a lot.
Nobody really comes. Nobody can admit it until you pass it 10 years. I'll tell you what, guys. I remember going to the doctor when I was a kid and going, Doc, I want glasses. And him going, your vision's fucking money. I can't give you glasses for years. At the age of 44, guys, I stopped seeing. And it got worse and worse. All those concerts I went to, I brag about Judas Priest in the 80s and AC/DC at the Palladium. I can't hear. If I, like tomorrow when we go to kettlebell class, I can't hear him talking. I just nod my head. Because with the air and the fucking music and people talking,
What do you hear?
I hear
Crowd noise.
crowd noise.
Yeah,
I
white
hear
noise.
crowd noise.
Yeah.
Once I start to focus it, that's when I have vertigo.
You get vertigo?
Yeah.
I used to get it all the time.
It's a fucking horror show.
Yeah.
So I just leave it alone now. If you come up to me sometimes and talk to me and there's street noise and people talking, I'm just nodding at you. Huh? I'm not fucking hearing you.
Yeah.
Because if I start to focus, I'll fucking pass out.
Yeah.
Like I get vertigo. It's the weirdest thing.
Yeah.
So I just leave it alone. I don't fucking hear no more. Is it because I played football? Fucking no. Now, but I tell you
How
what.
long did you play?
Listen, I got hit in the head a couple of times when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I had a concussion one time. I fell off a motorcycle.
That's all it
They put me
takes.
in the hospital.
That's all it takes.
I hit a pipe. What did I do? What was my football thing? I didn't play pee-wee football in North Bergen. My mother had a bar in Union City. So I played pee-wee football 1 year in North Bergen and in Union City. And then I went to Jack Lambert's football camp.
Jack.
Offense, defense. Jack Ham, Jack Lambert
Wow.
had a football camp.
Wow.
And I went there for a week, and I was all jazzed up about football. And I came back, and you're supposed to be 125 or 135 in those days. 125 for sixth grade and seventh grade, and 135 for the eighth grade. These were the really good guys.
Right.
I think I was at 132, and I was too young to play for the eighth grade team. So I just focused on basketball. My freshman year, I went to play basketball, and they said, listen, you got to play football to get in shape for basketball. Because the defense guy, is the head coach of the basketball. So he'll put you on sprint drills, and even though you won't play football, he won't let you play. You'll practice, and you'll build a relationship with him. That lasted about a fucking week. I was a basketball player. I didn't want to get fucking
Hey,
tackled.
man. Nah, it's a better choice. But you had some head injuries, so it does. It contributes to it, you know? Yeah,
I was a burglar. I got hit in the head with a pipe.
Yeah, I was a
You know,
burglar.
I'll never forget. I'll never forget this one particular night that Ralphie was here last week.
Oh,
He
yeah?
was talking about
Oh, awesome.
and he was talking about PTSD.
Yeah.
And I got a bunch of fucking emails going, what did Ralphie get hit in the head with, whatever. And I was thinking about a particular, it was like July of 94. And I hope you don't mind that I tell this story, Kyle.
Go ahead.
I was basically broke. I was working at National Car Rental, washing cars and checking them in, and I was doing comedy every fucking night I could. I mean, all I wanted was a pain in my heart to do fucking comedy. I was 31 years old, and I would go to lunch and eat every day at this place, In and Out, on from Valmont and 28th Street, because they made fresh chicken cutlets. Not that shit you buy at stores. These motherfuckers went and got high quality chicken cutlets, pounded them, dipped them in egg yolk, flour, fucking real Italian
Every
breadcrumbs
day?
every day, fresh. And then they let them cool down instead of fuck with them. So when you got there, they were crispy.
It's still there.
No, they sold these four guys. The one guy caught.
You said it was In and Out. Did they sold?
I think
they
it
sold
was
the name.
I think it was In and Out. I can't. The guy one of them got caught sending steroids over from Germany long distance. That was the end of the restaurant business. They sold the chain. But my point being, I used to meet this guy there once a week, and I always owed him money. I used to buy Coke from him. And he was a weird Spanish dude. I mean, like, no fucking English, no nothing. And we just happened to bump into each other on the right afternoon. And he had a chunk of blow. And I gave him like $300, and he gave it to me. And I was supposed to sell it and do this with it and do that with it and do this with it. I took that shit home. I did one line and it was all over. I bolted down the door. I think I ran to the liquor store, bought a 6-pack of Fat Tire. I fucking got some rolling papers. I went home and I did that whole block of fucking blow.
Oh, man.
It had to be 4 or 5 grams of blow. This is some of the best blow I ever did in the fucking 90s. I mean, I stayed up for a day and a half, whacking off, crawling on the floor, snorting pieces of fucking ceilings. It was horrible. I must have taken 82 showers. And then I fucking woke up the next day and I was hungry. And I'll never forget what I felt like. I felt like I had brain damage. Like that was the one time that, and I did coke for 27 fucking years. And that night particularly ran out. And I didn't do, there was nights I went 18, 19 grams. When I was in my 20s,
I don't know nothing about that.
Fuck yeah. When I was in my 20s, I could do, a chunk, me and this crazy dude from Tennessee. But in my 30s, I was a little controlled, and I did that. And I'll never forget riding
Only
a
8
bicycle
grams.
the next day.
Jesus.
And going to eat at this place, In-N-Out. It wasn't In-N-Out. I forget what the fucking name it was.
It could have been. Yeah.
And I made the left onto that with the bicycle. And I'll never forget thinking my mind's never going to fucking focus. Like, it took me 4 days to recover. And it wasn't an alcohol hangover.
Chemical.
It was a
Chemical
strict,
hangovers.
not even a chemical. It had jolted my central nervous system. This coke was so fucking yummy. This coke was so fucking good that till this day things happen and I go, you know what? It's from that night with that blow.
No
Like,
way.
it sent, oh yeah, I got mental fucking. Like, listen, when I quit doing coke, I was getting electric shocks in my spine that my fucking neck would hurt and I'd have to fucking straighten up like that. So at any time, and any day, this thing was going to short circuit.
Well, same question that Kyle answered. Like, looking back on it, would you still do coke?
Knowing what you know about it.
Yeah.
It
Like
depends.
if you have brain damage from it, I mean
It's a little different.
it's a funny story, but I mean to do that much and get fucking that's fucked up.
a little easier to do.
They show some fucking half a Momo on TV. All right, my name is Joey Diaz. I did blow for 27 years. Now I can't count backwards. Whatever the fuck it is.
Really?
Nobody invites me to New Year's parties.
Oh man. Hey, the problem is that just going back to the brain injury, it's about just protocol and recovery. And we've never addressed the injury. You never addressed your injury from the drug issue or getting in a motorcycle accident or playing football or whatever it was. You've never addressed your brain injury. I never had the opportunity to address my brain injury. We haven't thought about this enough, And we haven't had any. On top of that, we haven't had anything to help us medically. We've been given things that, frankly, are making it worse. Our country is being overrun with pharmaceuticals, and people are being prescribed things left and right, just freely, like it's candy. And these things are making brain injuries so much worse. People with manic depression and anxiety and bipolar disorders don't need to be taking these chemicals. They have done a horrible job at creating these drugs because all they do is mask, as I've been on them. I've been on Wellbutrin and Zoloft and Depakote for the past 6 years. And these things, all they have done is masked the issue and then created a whole nother realm of problems that didn't exist because of the side effects. After about 5 years in on a psych med, you start to feel these negative effects. You start reading the bottles and going, holy shit, yeah, I'm thinking about suicide more. I'm thinking about this more. I'm way more depressed, like this is supposed to be addressing this. It does at certain times and your levels are right and then you feel good. But after, good 5 years into psych med, it just starts preying on your brain in all those negative ways.
So, are you on that because of CTE, or is that just
I
you
have
personally?
been. I have been. I was. I've been off of those things for about 6 months now.
But was it caused by CTE, or was that just you personally?
No, I think that there are some personal, inherencies in individuals. But the brain injury itself, from what we understand about it, what I understand in talking to the best doctors in the world on this, it's that it makes it, all those issues that you might have going on, it exacerbates them like 1,000-fold. So
What's up, buddy?
if you've got problems, if you've got a giggle problem, and your brain is injured, it's gonna make it fucking go to the 10th level.
All I saw was you do the sign of the cross, and now you're hysterically laughing. Who knows?
I think that edible's kicking in.
This is brought to you by Anarchy Edibles.
Yeah, Anarchy Edibles. Well, speaking of though, that's a great segue because it leads to what I'm trying to do with that. I mean, we've been given these things to deal with these issues, and they've made them worse, some better, and
didn't say what happened.
I think marijuana can change the game personally.
So,
I think marijuana is going to be the answer to helping us continue to be able to play our sports, play football, get brain injuries, and recover from them.
Growing up, not really growing up. Like, before I left Jersey, I was fucking crazy, right, Kyle? I used to hang out at this bar called the Midtown Lounge. And there was a guy that used to come in there, an Irish guy, Johnny Reed. And he tried to kill himself.
What is it?
It's hilarious.
Yeah,
Hold on, hold on. But he fucked up. And he landed in a garbage dumpster. And he banged his head on the way down.
Oh, no.
So they did like brain surgery. He was never really the same. So they sent him a check.
You got a disability check for falling into the dumpster?
They sent him like
Trying to commit suicide.
Like they used to send him a monthly check, and he'd take the check and give it to the bartender at the Midtown Lounge, Tommy Sharples. And then Tommy would tell him like by the fucking 24th, listen, you got no money left. But he would be okay in the mornings. You could talk to him like, Johnny, what's happening? Nothing. I gotta go see this guy about a fucking job. Things are fucking bad. Everybody's got a job. And then after you have a couple drinks, he was crazy but not violent. And if he did get violent, he'd go in the corner and just throw punches by himself.
Wait, was this the guy you locked in the bathroom?
We locked him in the bathroom one day at a bar. Johnny Reed. But you're talking about people who taking pills. This guy, I don't know if he was on medication, but he drank like a fucking fish.
Either way, that's poison, man. The alcohol, it's in itself.
It's feeling it.
It's a chemical. It's alcohol.
Fueling it. Yeah.
It's a chemical. It's going into your bloodstream, going through your brain, and eating it away. Yeah.
I'm talking about reefer. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No,
How does
not
this
at
come
all.
into the picture, my brother?
I just think that it's going to change the game on how we deal with brain injury. Personally,
To smoke when? During the games? After the
you
games?
don't have to smoke it. You know how it is
Eat
now.
it?
You're eating it. It drops. Whatever. They got it in patches, vaporizers. These types of things. It's completely 100% healthy now. There's no excuse for us to continue to say we don't know enough when our government owns a medicinal patent on it for a neuroprotectant and an anti-inflammatory. How do you know that enough? And my personal experience, it's helped me to get off all those pharmaceuticals. So it's undeniable for me. And when you find your strains that really speak to your body, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That puts you. You don't even have to feel high. On the right strains, you don't even. You feel great. You feel perfect. You feel normal. And you could tell that that's what all those, after being on psych meds and painkillers and all those other things, that's all they're trying to do is to mimic what I've personally found in certain strains of marijuana, and the opiates as well. It's all just synthetic versions of that stuff.
Just push that back a little bit. Just talking the great part.
The grape, there we are.
There we go. That's so. You said your one of your partners in this company is Ricky Williams.
Yeah, Ricky and I have joined together. We've got a couple other partners out of San Diego. Michael Cindric is a big-time attorney. His dad was Ralph Cindric, mega super agent back in the day, repped all the quarterbacks in the 80s, 90s, some early 2000s maybe. But we're putting together a good group of football players to really kind of progress the advancement of medicinal marijuana. I mean, this is something that we need as athletes. We've been getting killed by these pharmaceuticals left and right. So, and some of us have had these experiences that have stuck with it and really been on the hunt to track this down as a medicine, and it's real. So, we're organizing the guys that are familiar with it and understand it to get around it and help, hopefully, push the needle on it at all levels, because this is not funny anymore. Okay, people are dying daily right now. People are dying while we're talking from pharmaceutical drugs that they've been given. Just like nothing. They write you that prescription so easily when it has side effects of death. I mean, this is serious stuff. Marijuana's not killed a soul in the history of the world. If it did, you'd be hearing about it a lot, and it makes no sense to why it's not legal. For one, in America, we're supposed to be free, but medicinally, that we continue to make the excuse that we don't know enough about a plant that's been around for thousands of years and used as a medicine, that's absurd. So obviously, when you look at the history of the game that the government's created with this, you understand it. You understand that this has some high medicinal value, pun intended, that they don't want us to understand. So I think it's past time that they can control that because of social media and the information era that we're in. And professional athletes notoriously can move that needle. If I can go from taking a cocktail of pharmaceuticals that encompasses 10 bottles as a daily regimen since 1996, I've been on a myriad of medications, unbelievable amounts of medications, for 20 plus years. And now I've been free of those now for 6 months, and I feel better than I felt in probably 10 years. And dealing with things on a whole nother level, psychologically, emotionally, etc. These drugs were not helping. They're a facade. Some people need certain medications to deal with things. I'm not going on full Tom Cruise, but yeah.
You should have the option.
You should have the opportunity. Yeah, exactly. At the end of the day, it's absurd, and especially in America, that we don't have the option of cannabis as a medicine.
And the NFL has I'm pretty sure it's a zero tolerance, because with Josh Gordon and all these, they're years are just being taken away from people. Their
whole livelihood. They've been made to be these criminals. I mean, how many of these guys that just get pulled over for having weed and now they're a thug? They're from this. Now they were from this area of New Orleans or Chicago, of course, or L.A., whatever. These guys are just thugs. And all the dude had was something that a judge is carrying in his fucking car home from the courthouse every fucking day in America.
So is that why you're? Because as a fan, sometimes when the Josh Gordon stuff happens, you're or when any player happens, and they get caught for stuff like that, you're you're getting paid millions of dollars. Why can't you just not smoke weed when you're gonna get tested or for those few years? But what your point is that it actually is not just for fun. It's
if someone, especially in a problem situation like that, okay, you have to look at what's going on. Why are they doing this? All right, this is obviously a medication for them. They'll prescribe you all these drugs, okay, that will do what they think this does, okay, right here. But at the end of the day, it doesn't. And that's why players do it. That's why lawyers do it, and doctors do it, and judges do it, and presidents of our own country do it, and people around the world do it at the highest levels of leadership and accomplishment and everything else. It's because it works better than anything else. And at the end of the day, it's a natural element that's not going to kill you. So as an athlete, and you're looking at a handful of pills versus what we have today, I don't understand why a player can't be prescribed this and should be prescribed this after a concussion. I mean, this is ridiculous. These things come in little compacts now, and here, okay, this is going to last you about a week or two. Okay, go home, sit in a dark room, air conditioning on, listen to some Zeppelin, and fucking chill out, for a week, and hopefully let this brain thing calm itself down. No, we need to get back on the field as soon as possible, and marijuana's evil, when it's proven to slow the progression of Alzheimer's That's a football disease. That is our disease. We own that disease right now. There's no other sport in America or in the world that owns Alzheimer's disease and dementia like football does. And it's, ridiculous that it's not an option. And that the league has a stance on it when it's something that could be and should just be free as an American to do. I mean, while they're promoting Budweiser and every other alcoholic beverage that sends people to the hospitals and to the morgue after every football game on every weekend coming up here as the football season's about to begin, all you got to do is look at the statistics of death on the freeways from accidents on weekends during football season. They're pretty high. I mean, while they're promoting this, it's just hypocritical that they would be striking players down, knowing the medicinal value for one, but that it's
Their mind is still in 1969.
Yeah,
and it will be there for the next
it's
20
absurd.
years,
These-
20, 30 years.
These people are ridiculous.
And the
man.
things you talk about, they know. I mean, they know these things, so and they look at it as a drug still, And don't they? You always hear all these rumors that they don't test for THC in the NBA.
They used to not. I think they do now.
Right? They don't, or they do not.
Yeah. Now I think they do, but I don't know how strict it is. I know that they didn't. They didn't test for anything.
How often do they test you as an NFL player?
NFL players only have one test a year for street drugs. So that's the other thing. I mean, if they were really staunch against it, then they should be putting it in the random drug testing program. But they don't. They put it in just as once a year test. You take it, everybody knows it's coming right around training camp, and you just, get right. That's why it's been illegal in the NFL. They have this weird mentality of wanting, I guess, to weed out these guys that they don't think are, team guys or whatever, for the organization. They're looking for fall guys instead of football players. It's a real.
It's a business.
It's a business.
Corporation.
Exactly.
Listen,
you got a bunch of business guys running a fucking sport that they don't need to be running because it's bigger than that. It's much bigger than their bankrolls. It's much bigger than their private jets. Football is not a sport like any other. You play this game, you make it to that level. It's modern day gladiators. I mean, rugby players as well. I mean, these are gladiator sports. MMA. To achieve the greatness of the mixed martial arts in the UFC.
Especially for players who play
Unreal.
positions like yours, like the linemen or maybe like the linebackers.
Linemen.
Like and
Rugby players.
receivers get hit too, and so like running backs have like a 3-year career.
Yeah.
Which is pretty crazy when you think
Yeah,
about
that's
it.
the average length career in the National Football League.
What's the
3.5.
offensive lineman career?
The average length of an NFL career is 3.5 years. I guess statistically, linemen have longer careers, because you don't have to keep your speed as much, as these other positions. It's skill positions, they call them. At the line, you can lose a step. I can come off a bad back injury and lose a step and still play O-line. Whereas you play receiver or DB, you're getting burnt. So it's yeah.
But that doesn't even really make sense because for receivers, you don't get hit every play. As a lineman or
Yeah.
like a linebacker, you're just like there's a player, I forget it was either Mankins or something. I'm a Patriots fan, and he played with a torn ACL for like half the
Yeah,
season
right.
as like a lineman, and it's
Yeah,
just
put a knee brace on, tape it up. Yeah, man. Jack Lambert taped a magazine to his broken tibia, ran back out there with a magazine bracing his broken leg with duct tape.
Well, that's with adrenaline and stuff. That's part of the other thing that's always been interesting to me. While you're playing the game and while you're in there and knowing the pressure that you're replaced the next fucking day, they got 4 guys behind you. While you're in the action, you're taking those testosterone shots. You're taking those fucking cortisone shots. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the painkillers.
Yeah, you're eating the fucking painkillers because this is what you do, guys. This is what the fuck you do.
Yeah.
But
You didn't know. We didn't know.
You know and you don't know.
We didn't understand the serious nature. They started letting guys know that, hey, shortly after your career's over with, your kidneys are going to shut down. You think down the road. When you think in injuries in football, you just think you don't think it's going to come so soon. The serious ones. I mean, you got guys that are going down right now from all these medications with their kidneys and livers, left and right. You know, alcohol's a problem issue too, but it's the pharmaceutical drugs that are just overloading our systems.
I was wondering that. Did anyone ever come to you and say you have to take this or you have to go out sooner, or is it just what Joey said, and you know that if you don't and you're out for an extended period of time, your job
that's why
is
they
gone?
don't have to say it.
Yeah.
When you don't have a guaranteed contract and there's a guy sitting there ready to go, and you know that you're not going to get the time to recover from that injury if you don't go, then, you know, that's the problem.
Think about it, Lee. I just got you out of debt. I got you to give that beautiful fucking girlfriend a big diamond ring. She's knocked up. You're 2 years in. You're a year away from renewal. You know, you had fucking 3 sacks. Blah, 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 blah. You know, something happens. Your shoulder hurts. It ain't gonna hurt that much. The guy across from you, he's been fucking on you all season. You and I both know you don't have time to miss 2 fucking games. This guy has the game of his life. You're running uphill now. It's that fucking fast. What do you do, Lee?
Do you feel that way with comedy?
Huh?
Do you feel that way with comedy?
Because I'm the type of person I am, I feel that way with everything in life.
You got to.
I feel that way with everything in life.
You got to go, man.
I remember Don Herrera and I was a basketball guy. And I told you that in those days, the other day I walked around early. I walked to jiu-jitsu, and the sun was shining on me a weird way this morning at 9:30 in the morning. I was like, wow, this reminds me of an East Coast morning when I would leave the house early just to go take 300 shots. I once heard that Jerry West used to shoot 300 shots, just jump shots every day. So I said, this is what I'm going to do before I even go play. I'm going to just shoot 300 fucking jump shots. And, you know, you have to assume that if you're not practicing, that guy you're going up against is practicing.
Yeah.
He's in the fucking gym right now doing jumping jacks. You're on the couch because your knee hurts. Really? Really? All your life you've worked for.
There's a difference, you know, with injury. You know, that's the thin line that they've kind of treaded in the National Football League with players. You know, this you need to know the difference between pain and injury has been the saying, the motto, and that's what I'm sure still
They say that all the
speak
time
about today.
At the end of the season, they're like, "Oh, everyone's hurt at this point."
Yeah. I mean, when you know, I mean, if the difference is a player's going to go no matter what. You're not going to have a guaranteed contract, then you're going to go no matter what. Okay. If the doctor tells you, "Hey, look, your shoulder's torn," you know, it might cause you to, as a professional athlete, it would likely cause you to take a step back and say, do I want to go out there and risk ripping it completely away from the bone right now? You know, my back injury, if I would have been told, hey, you got the makings of a real bad herniated disc right now, it's probably just bulging, you know, you might want to think about taking off, because otherwise it's going to herniate, and then it's going to be a surgery situation for sure.
No, it'll heal in 2 weeks. Do what you need to do.
That's what they tell you. That's the problem. That's what they tell you.
Fuck
they don't.
yeah.
They throw their Hippocratic oath out the window because they're protected by their collective bargaining agreement that our fucking fake ass union negotiates with the National Football League all the time, to let these doctors just run freely away from any recourse from their advice.
Who's making that decision? Is it the doctor? Does the general manager tell the doctors? Like,
Oh yeah, at the end of the day, they have a meeting with the doctors, and those people sit in the rooms with the coaches and the general managers and the doctors. And the doctor will give his report. They'll sit in a boardroom like this with people all around, and they'll have the injury report, and the doctor will come in and he'll say, "This is what I got. This is what and they'll say to him, "Okay, how bad is it?" And the doctor goes, "Well," and then that's when it starts to happen. Okay, they start piecing those injuries away and saying, "Well, okay, it's just kind of a minor tear, it's a minor sprain. Okay, can you tape it up?" "Yeah, I think we can get away with that. I think we can do it." And these doctors sit up there and tell these coaches that, yeah, and that's how they get hired. You know, I mean, I've had friends that have sat in these meetings with these assholes that are willing to just wash away any advice to the player and just give it all to the team. You know, I mean, they don't care one bit because they're not paid to. You know, and they don't, and they know they can walk away That's the biggest crime that's been committed, is that these doctors can walk away. There's no vested interest by the team or these doctors for these players to be healthy, because they can walk away clean from any bad information given.
And these doctors are like insurance adjusters. They're there to basically cut you off. Like, they're there to say, you know what, you're okay. I'm clearing you to go back on the field.
Mm-hmm.
You know what, you don't really need to be in the hospital for 3 days. We're going to send you home in a day. Meanwhile, you're not ready to fucking go home.
And if you go get a second opinion, then you become a guy who doesn't want to play with the team. You know, if a guy says, well, that doesn't feel right to me, I'm going to go get a second opinion. The answer from your doctor doesn't seem right to this injury. It seems a lot worse. And I have the right within the collective bargaining agreement to go get a second opinion. But when you do that and you're not a big time guy, then you become a marked man. And even if you are a big time guy, you become a marked. I became a marked man. You know, when I came out here to LA to the back surgeon, and he said, I can't believe they put you back out there after 4 months off of back surgery. You were back into 2-a-days. And I was like, yeah, man. And he's like, you can't even lift your foot up. You got drop foot so bad that I wouldn't clear you on a basic physical right now to go do anything but, general rehab. He's like, but those doctors are, oh, you're good to go. Here, try to touch your toes, and here, try to touch your nose. Okay, go out there, go play. There's no proper protocol to recovery from injury at any level. They got all the tools, they got all the drugs and medications and rehab equipment and the best masseuses and chiropractors and therapists and this, that, and the other, but it's all there just to hurry that process up instead of to really address, okay, you might want to take a few weeks off here, and let's do that before you go back to the field. Otherwise, they'll never give you that information. I mean, they'll vaguely allude to serious situations, but they're never going to stop the player from going.
I really hate the loyalty conversation. Like, for me personally, I'll be loyal to Joey until the day I die, because he's taken care of me since I've been out here in LA. And especially in podcasts, a lot of podcasters don't take care of the producers at all. Mm-hmm. They're lucky if they get $25. So I'll be loyal to you till the day I die. But especially in sports, how can they even bring up loyalty when they'll trade you? And that's fine, that's part of the business. But if they're not loyal to the players at all, how can they push it back? It doesn't make sense.
That's where they lose the players,
The day you realize you're a fucking piece of meat.
That's why you have class action lawsuits. That's why the game has been trudged through the mud, because they haven't chosen to do the right thing. They haven't chosen to honor the benefits. They set all these things up and make it look like, oh, we have all these great programs, this, that, and the other. And at the end of the day, they don't follow through. No union worth a shit in America is going to let an employee leave the job injured without receiving full benefits. And as an NFL football player who's supposed to have the best union in America, they parade it around so heavily. You have to fight against your own union to get them to get your benefits. I mean, the boards that they have in place that make decisions on who gets disability and who doesn't is set up with guys that aren't even doctors. They're just ex-football players that have personal opinions, and Roger Goodell. I'm like, what the fuck do you know about it, asshole? You played in college for a minute. Your daddy was a politician. You held coffee for fucking Pete Rozelle for I don't know how many years and sniffed jocks around the locker rooms. You think you earned the right to be where you were at just because of that? And I don't have a more of a stance than you do in this, and you don't want to sit and try to listen and understand what's going on. That's why we have all these problems in the NFL. That's why it's looked so ugly, and why we're losing a fan base, and all these parents don't want to put their kids in. Everybody's blaming concussions. It's not because of concussions. It's because these parents are sitting at home going, Jesus, I don't want my kid to grow up in that sport. These guys are a bunch of fucking idiots.
Let me give some shout-outs real quick. We'll get to the next thing here. Jonathan Colby, and I love you, cocksucker. Aldine Franco, Marcus Lamos, thank you. Anthony Torito in Buffalo, get it together. Jonas Presadio, happy birthday. My main man, Malcolm Riddle, happy birthday. And Amy, another one, too. Love you. Go ahead, ask him.
I know, but it's not even just the medical part of it.
Gotta give the shout-outs, man.
Huh?
Gotta give the shout-outs.
Sure, these people are fucking loyal savages.
Damn right.
You gotta take care of these motherfuckers. Listen, man. At the end of the day, we're all corporate. My wife worked at a corporation, 10 years. Went in there when she was fucking sick. You know, I used to talk to her at night. I used to tell her, calm down. But she's a fucking American. She believes in her job. She gets knocked up. We have the kid. She goes back. She asks for a raise. They give her 3%. My wife was furious. She quit. Next lady comes along. They started at $30,000 more and took away 3 of her jobs. We live in some fucking weird times with no loyalty.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, you realize you're a fucking piece of meat. You're a fucking piece of meat.
And that's the world, though. You know, I mean, that's the real world, and that's what people need to understand. But
and these unions,
type of
they
shit,
stop fighting. These
that
fucking
type of shit
people.
shouldn't exist in football, man. It shouldn't exist in the NFL. It's too great of an accomplishment, you know. I mean, not to lessen your, you know, anybody's accomplishments, you know, or how long they work at companies or anything like that. It's just to achieve that physical greatness just requires such an unbelievable dedication that people don't understand.
To be in the fucking NFL.
They just
fucking
see
kidding?
little things and it just kind of looks easy. So most people just kind of take it for granted. The amount of dedication that goes into accomplishing that dream to make it to the NFL is unreal.
Shit.
There's nothing. I've surfed waves the size of buildings. I've, you know, done anything. I've been in shark waters. There's nothing that compares to playing in the National Football League and that adrenaline rush and that sense of accomplishment. I mean, I've had kids, and you know, of course, my kids are unbelievable, and it's you know, having my wife. Everything. I've been married 13 years. I just have so many great things, but nothing in the world compares to that rush. It's another
To running out there on a
level,
Sunday.
another level, man.
Running out there on a Monday night.
I do it right now. I run through a brick wall to do that right now. I can't run anymore.
Me too. I fucking love to play Monday Night Football. You kidding me, Lisa?
That'd be crazy.
How crazy?
80,000 people just exploding.
Oh, unreal.
What happened to Monday Night
Electric.
Football? I was telling Lee when I was young, Monday Night Football started at 9 p.m. in New York City. 6 p.m. here. 9 o'clock that fucking game started.
That's late.
And if the game was great, that game went till fucking midnight.
At least.
12:30.
One, yeah.
And I was telling Lee a particular game San Diego played when they had Air Coryell coaching.
Yeah, Don
Dan
Coryell.
Fouts and
Yeah.
fucking.
I know that.
And they went back and forth. I think it was them and the Minneapolis, Minnesota Vikings. They went back and forth, and they beat them like 54-53 with, 3 minutes left in overtime. That's amazing. 100 points in a football game on a Monday night. Monday nights.
That's Air Coryell, man.
Lee, right now we would not.
Father of the passing game.
25 years ago, Lee, we would not be doing this podcast right now.
Wouldn't have even been thought. Like we wouldn't.
I wouldn't even consider it because Monday nights was an event.
Yeah.
From the time I must have been in the 7th grade, but it got built up. By the time the 80s hit, it was fucking huge. People were having parties in bars, or you could eat, or you could drink, meatballs, this, that. So you went to the bar who had the best food. Some people had buffets for Monday night.
Monday
football.
nights?
Drink
Oh, man.
specials. Fucking women were out. People were out doing blow. People were smoking dope. Monday night, you used to
Hey, as
sacrifice.
an entertainer, it became you couldn't book shows on Monday nights.
No, nothing. Nothing with nothing,
Yeah.
Lee. You went out and got so fucked up for those 2 hours that you didn't do comedy after that. Like, I always sit there and go, what the fuck happened to Monday
And
nights?
then Thursday night even.
I don't like Thursday night games.
But for a minute there, it was huge, And whatever night they wanted to pick, man. Football became America's sport, It really did.
In 1994, I worked for a sports betting service in Boulder, Colorado. And we'd work, Lee, Jew hours. These guys were These guys were Jews, dog. They worked fucking hours. So the only day you had off during football season was Wednesdays. That's it, Wednesdays. And you had to work starting Friday at 7 in the morning. You went till about 7:30 at night. Saturday, big college day. If you could be there at 5 in the morning, you'd be there till 7 at night. Sunday, big pro football. Again, 7 in the morning to fucking 6 o'clock at night league. So Monday, guess what? You were in. It's your biggest day of the week. Monday's when people lose $800, and you got to get them back, and they call you for a fucking winner. So this is the day you work your ass off. At that day, the guy who owned that place on Monday nights would rent out the bar. Every Monday would be a different fucking place. And we could eat for free till halftime. Whatever the bar used to eat, like those potatoes you like with bacon and shit in the middle, like savages.
Which one? Like the baked potato, like the loaded baked potatoes?
Sliders. Yeah.
Like all that type of shit. But Monday nights in this country were huge.
There's too much now. Well, I don't want to say too
Well,
much.
then
There's
it went
just so
to
much more.
Then it went to ESPN.
Right.
Then
It's
went
still
to,
big, It's
No.
not what it was.
Do they even have Monday Night Football?
Yeah.
Yeah, they got money.
They have
They
two
do?
games. They have two
Yeah.
games, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Don't they have an early game and a late game sometimes?
I think so. Yeah. I
I'm
mean,
not
it's
sure.
still a big deal. It's just not what it was. Now it's just super commercialized and all about your house. I mean, people are just staying at home now. They're capitalizing on it because all the TVs and everything. People are going out still and watching Monday Night Football. They'll go out to sports bars and stuff, but not like it was.
Now, tell me this. Was there as many commercials as there are now? Because there's a ton of commercials in football games. It's
There's
almost
only
all commercials.
That's the beauty of that's how brilliant they are. Do you know how many minutes make up an average NFL football game of action? Of actual play. How many minutes do you think?
Well, it's a 60-minute clock.
For an entire game, how many minutes of actual action do you think there is in an NFL football game?
10?
Yeah, like between
Oh,
10 and
I just
14
guessed.
minutes. Between 10 and 14 minutes of playtime. That's it. That's all the action that's balled into this experience because there's so many commercials and they replays, and they've just become the masters at keeping people's attention without providing, a consistent game of action. It's literally 12 minutes or something like that's the average of an NFL football game of action.
That shows how
For
exciting
3
it is.
fucking hours you're watching this thing, and then at the end of the day it's 12 minutes. Every play is only a few seconds, so.
You know me, I used to go to people's houses, but once the fucking onion dip was gone, I gotta go, bitch. I'm fucked up. Where's that fucking right out of the container too? That fucking French onion dip.
That's good, yeah.
With some Ruffles, potato chips when you
Oh, you gotta have
to the
Ruffles,
gills.
yeah.
64-ounce bottle of Coke, just fucking dipping.
I mean, that alone, why wouldn't they legalize marijuana? Why would they be promoting it?
We used to get fucked up and watch.
Yeah, right?
How much money do you think, if you could look at it, money spent, I used to not want to watch it. I'm still heavy, but I lost a lot of weight. I used to not watch a football game without pizza and wings.
Right.
How much money do you
couldn't.
think is made throughout the whole thing, including
What does it generate?
yeah, just
Between
billions.
pizza, people taking cabs
That's
to
why they control the media.
stadiums, people taking fucking cabs to bars.
I was thinking I went to the Red Sox game, and it's in the middle of the city. It cost $50 to park, so we took the subway in. How much money do you think? There's 81 Red Sox games every year. How much money do you think the subway makes just those nights?
I
It's
don't know
crazy.
about that, but I know one thing. When I was in St. Louis, a guy stood outside. They did an article on him. He said he was tired and he was going to quit, so he wanted to give up his ghost here with what he was doing. This guy stood outside Cardinals the old Busch Stadium, only during baseball stadium, and asked everybody that he would come in contact with if they had $1. And he sat out there only during baseball season, home games only, and he said on an average he made during every baseball season like $70,000 to $80,000.
Oh.
Just asking people for $1. He drove a Benz and lived in a nice house, everything. And he got to the point where he was doing it all the time.
Lee, we're sending you up to Dodger games.
I was just gonna say I said I was gonna be loyal to you, but I quit. I'm moving back to
I'm
Boston.
going to go ask for $1
Oh, my
outside.
God.
Yeah, it's crazy. The amount of money that's generated in that business is unreal. Merchandise, I mean, merch, selling T-shirts and shit, man. I mean, they're selling them for
$50.
$50
At
for
least,
a T-shirt.
An NFL jersey is $100.
At least. That's for a shitty one,
And you don't get a piece of that.
Players get a chunk,
Really?
But it's all profit shared. So, but at the end of the day, the players have to pay for their own medical and all the other people, everything. We pay for all. The players end up paying for all the benefits at the end of the day. It comes out of the player pools. The league contributes very little money.
How much of a pension do you get from the NFL now? How many years do you have to pay?
Pensions are shit. They're the worst. Football pensions are the worst. And you don't get it till you're like 50 or 55 or something like that. It's
And
like
you're probably like 35 when you retire.
the average life expectancy of an NFL offensive lineman is 55 or 57 or something. I don't know what it is. It's ridiculous. They've adjusted some of those things, those rules with retirement benefits and stuff, but it's still shit. Baseball's got way better benefits packages and everything. I mean. But, they've got a lot of good things set up now. They just don't like giving the benefits to people. They'll fight them till the end, to keep them from getting their benefits. They won't accept your 10-inch thick medical file over some third-party doctor that is working for them, knowing that he's going to say that all these new cognitive issues you're having didn't stem from football,
And that's why the loyalty thing doesn't make sense to me. Like, we just signed Reggie Wayne today because the Colts wouldn't re-sign him. The Colts are still making money off of Reggie Wayne. They could have signed him to whatever the Patriots signed him and let him be on the team just for his 15th year.
Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
Peyton Manning should have died a Colt. What the hell? That's ridiculous. There's no loyalties at all in the National Football League. It is not for long, as the old coach said. And that's more true than in any other sport. In the National Football League, there's no guaranteed contracts for the players, so or lifetime medicals. So there's no vested interests on behalf of the teams or doctors or anybody else, or the agents or whatever it is. It all falls down, to the player.
When I was a kid, I was a fan, guys. I was a fan. I went to baseball games, to football games, basketball games, and I'll tell you. It's not like they reached out to you and lit you a fucking cigarette at these things. But it just seemed like they weren't trying to fucking rob you. I went to 1,000 basketball games in Madison Square Garden. You know how lucky I was as a kid, Lee? I didn't feel like I was going to get robbed. If anything, I always snuck in there for $10, $15, shit like that. When I go to an event now, I feel like I'm getting fucking robbed. And I couldn't even imagine
worse than robbed
being a fan.
Yeah.
With the fucking Laker games, with the fucking just regular. Yeah, and there's some organizations that are giving out dollar tickets. I don't think they're in.
It's never the good ones.
Not in football.
In Boston, the lowest tickets can be like 20 something for the bleachers.
What'd you pay for those tickets the other day?
I paid like 44 each, and the ticket price was 56, but the Red Sox sucked this year. But even still, I paid 44. We were sitting. Like pretty good seats, like kind of behind home plate.
$44.
Took a picture. It looked great.
But we were like in the seats that were literally there from like 1930.
But only $44.
That's for the front row. It's like $500, $600, $700.
My buddy just tried to buy some tickets for him and his boy. They're huge Saints fans. They live out here in the Valley, and they wanted to go see the team in Arizona when they play the Cardinals this year, and. So he goes to look online for tickets, and the cheapest tickets with at least a decent seat was like back in the corner of the end zone, $500, $500
off the company website.
Ticket.
Well, that's what I think. That isn't that when like tickets are scarce and people are selling them on eBay and stuff, or
still you've created a system here that doesn't allow fans to go to the game. It's just a party. It's a who's who. It's, it's back to, they only let so many tickets, I think back in the day, go to, out in the market to, just bulk purchases like they do now. I mean, they allow these companies to come in and purchase blocks of tickets that then go on these websites, and people are selling them all over. We didn't have social media like we had, so now it's just become this bastardized deal where it puts the little man out of the game. So ultimately they can say, well, we only charge that much, but at the end of the day, you set up the system to fuck the little guy.
Well, they're guaranteed to sell all those tickets because they don't. Once the StubHub or whatever buys those tickets, they don't give a shit if the tickets get sold.
Hey, you got to wait until the last minute, and hopefully get a deal. But right from the beginning, I mean, it hasn't even started yet. The season, I mean, they haven't even. They're not ready to go to that game. I don't know when that game is, how far out it is. But he looked out, thought what he thought was plenty of time to get tickets, and they're at $500. I mean, a month's away from the game, and he's looked to buy him tickets for him and his kid. And it's I get it. It's entertainment, and you gotta. But at the same time, they've priced out real football fans. The game changed. I saw it change over my career. 98 into the 2000s became the shift. Where the media and the whole entertainment thing just kind of took over, and it wasn't about the players anymore, and the history of the game and the loyalties and all these other things. It just became about this huge party, Monday Night Footballs, and all these things that were just going out of control, and the amount of money that was getting thrown around. And so it just kind of lost its meaning, where people used to go and sit and, dressed up and watch the games, and now it's chugging beers and eating popcorn, and I paid 500 fucking bucks for these tickets. You're not going to tell me to shut up, lady, type of stuff, and that's what the game's turned into. A reflection of
the times,
a reflection of the way they've wanted the league to go, and the way that they've created it.
A lot of times, like a lot of companies will have suites and stuff, and that's why tickets get so high, because these companies can pay a lot of money, and real fans aren't there. Like my dad worked at a seafood place in Boston, and they had seats above home plate, right where the press box is, like behind glass. And there's waiters, and it's great stuff. But I hate it. I didn't hate it. It was cool to watch the game from there. But my favorite place to watch the game from is the bleachers.
Sure.
It's such a different experience, and it's so much fun.
It is, and it's not anymore. I mean, it is, but it isn't. It's just a big spectacle. It's fun to go see the whole deal just for the experience, because it's so massive now, and all the bright lights and big screen TVs. I mean, hell, the Dallas Cowboys Stadium, you can't even see the field. You don't have to. They got a massive screen in the middle of the stadium there that's as big as the field. So that's what it's turned into. It's unfortunate, as a player, it just sucks, because all this is fine and this is great and all, but at the end of the day, you see all this growth, and you see all this money and wealth and power and all these things just growing, and you see the guys that built it, and they're down here, and they're in wheelchairs, and they're fucked, and their wives can't take care of them because they're a spouse. I mean, guys have gotten divorced so that they can get the money from the NFL to be the primary caretaker, because it can't be a spouse. Guys that have had Alzheimer's, dementia, bad situations, ALS situations, and the league and the union doesn't care to honor their disabilities and allow them to, live a decent life after that. Or these little kids, that are getting these spinals and these wheelchairs, they can't walk anymore, and they just go away, go away. And if we would only protect that, and put a priority on honoring those individuals that sacrificed, and for the dream, we wouldn't be where we're at with all the negative talk. We'd be praising football still, and wanting all our kids to play it, because at the end of the day, it does teach some great things, but it's gotten lost completely on the whole entertainment aspect of it. It's created a monster that they can't control, where all these kids now, it's not about making it to the NFL to honor those guys that you saw coming up. It was Danny White, Tony Dorsett, for me, the Dallas Cowboys, and then watching Howie Long, just made me want to be like him, watching those guys. And I'm sure these young kids today are, the same. They're watching their favorite players, but because of the commercialization of it and how the league doesn't really have, and the kids, they see this, how they don't have the players' backs, and this whole mess that's gone on. These kids today, they're showing up with earrings on. That all kind of started with Deion Sanders and then just trickled down. And you still have it today with guys like Chris Carter that are going to say, "Get yourself a fall guy." They don't want to hear from guys like me. They will never bring me to the rookie symposium. because I'm going to tell their players what the fuck they need to know. They would rather bring guys like that to the rookie symposium so they can tell them what they want them to know. And that is, we own you, motherfucker. So do what we say, and we'll take care of you. If you don't do what we say, and you don't keep in line, and you step out, and you say a few things here, or you don't act like you want to go along with this, then fuck you, you know? And that, at the end of the day, is what all these kids are seeing, and that's corrupted football, and it's just a big old entertainment industry now. You know, all these kids are out for that money at the end of the day.
Like ballers.
Ballers.
Let's wrap this fucking up here. Talk to our sponsors here. That was fucking great, man. What's up, Lee? How you feeling? You ain't even
I'm
that
high as fuck.
No, you're not.
You gave me like an entire tip
No,
on the
we're
story.
gonna finish this brownie up here in a second. You're fine.
Jesus Christ.
Look, I can see it in your face. You got no blotches. You're looking good. The Boston there, did you eat pizza?
No.
What you get hot dogs?
No, just
Yes, you did.
legals.
Don't be bullshitting me.
You guys need them. You need them kettlebells in here. Shit.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
I'm really liking that class.
put
it
them
worked.
in here.
Yeah.
But to do it nice.
Get microphone. You know, shit. You guys are eating enough edibles. You need to burn that shit off. That's gonna.
Like eating edibles and I'll fucking
You
pass
do
out.
kettle.
I almost passed out here 10 minutes ago. I swear to
Really?
God. Oh yeah, I couldn't look at it. I don't know more. I had to sit up
We're gonna
straight.
me and Ricky. We're gonna create a whole line of nutritional edibles that are gonna be like protein bars and drinks and shakes and all kinds of stuff. But we're gonna put some good stuff in there and try to get people to use it at the right times. And we believe it's gonna make
Right
a
after a
big
nice
difference.
workout, 22
Yeah.
grams of protein,
Yeah, exactly.
150 milligrams of fucking high-powered Mexican fucking
Yeah.
seed reefer.
150 milligrams doesn't. You're gonna need to make one for Joey, like 700 milligrams. 150 doesn't even. Isn't a drop in the bucket to you anymore.
150 of fine, refined, whey fucking THC reefer protein
Yeah.
mix.
The
with
exact
some
amount,
fucking-
the right
with
amount.
some Gonzaga juice from the jungles of Brazil, and the Peruvian nut, a specialized nut that flies in twice a year from the jungles
The
of
nut flies in.
of the jungle.
Gonzaga
They fly
juice?
the fucking thing
Yeah.
in from the jungles of Tuimbamba, Colombia. They use
emu.
it for energy.
The emu brings
when
it.
they run out of cocaine, they eat this thing. People will fucking drink those protein shakes up. You make a nice chocolate espresso, chocolate,
It would make the gym nicer if
Vanilla.
everyone was high.
sure, and a super duper looper fucking special Kyle milkshake with peanut butter, wheat germ, fucking almond milk, the whole thing. Tell them,
Exactly.
dog.
Yeah.
With 150 THC milligrams. It's called You Ain't Going Nowhere protein shake. In fact, get on it,
That's why I'm not going to
cocksucker.
say nothing. You just cut my commercial.
There
for
you
me,
go. Who the fuck
know?
you think you're dealing with? Some fucking novice from yesterdayville? Let me give some shout outs here to my main motherfuckers. Onnit, always fucking keeping me together. You didn't take that stuff to turn around 180.
I know, I
have some
need
at the
some.
house. You have to blast. Listen, man, I've spoken to 4 people in 2 weeks that told me they flown and they got sick. I fly all the fucking time. I used to get sick all the time. And there's a reason why I don't get sick anymore. It's that fucking Onnit, that turnaround 180. I blast a baby fucking pill. I blast 2 fucking of those things. I put that powder in the thing and I stir it up and I drink it with water.
I'm gonna start traveling more. I'll have to get some.
And I
Yeah.
avoid anything. I wipe the table down with the towelette. I wipe my fingers down. I don't touch shit on that fucking plane. When I come off the plane, there's nothing but a shower in my future. I check in, I swear to God, I don't
I
fuck
hear you.
around.
I hear you.
These motherfuckers walk
Yeah,
around after they
I
fly
know.
and mingle with people. Ain't
Yeah.
no mingling.
No.
They ain't no mingling.
I forgot about that. There's screens now that I was touching the entire 3 of the 4
Yeah, you
flights.
just been at the airport.
I'll tell you though, I've been off of pharmaceuticals for 6 months. My family, my wife, my kids, I got little ones. They've been sick a couple times. I usually get sick when they get sick. And since I've been off the pharmaceuticals, they've been sick a couple times, and I've been around other sick people, and I've not gotten sick once. I've been on airplanes, and I've been run down, and I've been kicking my ass trying to get myself back in shape.
Your resistance is top notch.
And I believe that I mean, I don't even take an aspirin anymore. I don't take Aleve. I don't take aspirin. I don't take anything with any chemicals in it whatsoever anymore. And since having that lifestyle, I've been healthier, I think, than I've ever been in my life. I mean, I'm not getting sick at all. I'm like back to being when I was a kid with all the growth hormone pumping through my veins and not getting sick. It's been actually quite eye-opening to rid yourself of pharmaceuticals and to trust cannabis. It's something I think everybody should do just to give it a shot, because for me, it's created a whole nother life for me.
Take a chance, Columbus did it, cocksucker. Throw away the Viking and listen to Kyle Turley.
Damn right.
Stop fucking around.
Go to Onnit.com.
And press in your code 10% off your
Church.
first order.
You press in church.
Listen, go to Onnit.com. Let's be honest with yourselves. Go to Onnit.com. They got great supplements every day. I get great fucking reviews from people. It all starts with the Alpha Brain, 100% nootropics, 100% money back guarantee. They don't want the fucking product. That's belief. That's why I fuck with these people. Not only do they have that, they have the hemp protein, the testosterone booster. I could sit here and bullshit you motherfuckers because I don't know the chemicals. Do me a favor. Go to Onnit.com right now. Look at all the great line of products they have. I can't help you with the bodybuilding shit and kettlebells, but I get you 10% off on the supplements, all right? Go to Onnit.com right now and press in
Church.
boom, and get 10% off your first order, right? And if you like it, send them your credit card number and get to stay on the program. It gets delivered to your door on a monthly fucking level. You want to put your credit card out there, that's up to you. I'm not forcing you to do nothing. Don't listen to me. I'm just telling you got options, cocksucker.
Do they have CBD products?
What's that?
On it. Do they have any CBD products?
I think they're working on it also. I'm not fucking 100% sure.
Well, they need to get on it.
We'll call them after the podcast. I'll connect you with the guy direct. You call him up, you tell him all your gripes. All right, that's the fuck. Here's the beauty, all right? Your time is precious, and you want to feed your mind what's best out there for you. And who has the time to sit through all this nonsense on the fucking internet? So for those of us who want premium content and don't have time wasting it, there's Next Issue. Next Issue is the mobile app that lets you tap directly into the world's most popular magazines anytime, anywhere, using your phone or your motherfucking tablet, all right? Here's what you got to do. This is iconic magazines like People, Vogue, Esquire, Time, and a lot more. And Next Issue lets you dive deeper into the story with interactive content for a richer reading experience. Sign up for Next Issue right now. You'll get immediate access to all the top magazines, including back issues and exclusive videos and photos, all right?
I used it on the flight. It was great.
I know that Lee downloaded it, but let me tell you what they got. My favorites are Rolling Stone. You got Runner's World. You got Self Magazine. You got Teen Vogue if you're a fucking pedophile. You got Men's Journal. I mean, you got everything here. LA Doctor. Plus, you got... Lee, don't call for around me. I got shit to do this week, cocksucker. Plus, you got premium titles.
You're a pedophile.
U.S. Weekly, Time, The New Yorker, Star, Sports Illustrated, and a lot more. So do me a favor, all right? This is what I'm going to do for you motherfuckers, all right? Next Issue is offering a free trial right now. Go to nextissue.com/Joey. And again, try Next Issue for free right now when you go to nextissue.com/Joey. Lee, talk to these people about Next Issue and what you thought about it.
It's great. So what you do is you download, you go through all these magazines, and they ask you for your favorites, and then you go and you can. They have a back. It's not even just like the most recent issue. They have backlogs.
Backlogs. That's a beauty of it.
And you download it, and you can. It's not even just like the text. Like sometimes when you go to websites, it's just like the text of the article. They have like the full magazine. I didn't get any with the extra video content or anything, but I got one. You get to like scroll through the stories. Like you don't have to flip through all the pages if you don't want to. You can just like see what the stories are, and they have everything. It was great for the flight, especially for the last one because they didn't have any screens on the plane.
And you downloaded all of them before you went on the plane.
I did, but a lot of planes have Wi-Fi now.
All right,
So,
you
yeah.
could download them when you're up in the air.
Yeah.
There you go. So do me a favor. Go to nextissue.com right now and press in. What are they pressing?
Joey.
Slowly /Joey. Capital. No. I was going to say capital letters because sometimes that fucks me up too. And that's the best part. We're offering a free trial right now. So do me a favor. Go to nextissue.com/Joey. Right? Tell them Uncle Joey sent you. As usual, the best e-cigarette out there in the market. Hit E-cigs. Right now, 5 for $50. Whether you want the tobacco, the one I'm smoking right now, you're looking at me going, Joey, you look so fucking international.
And it lights up red at the end.
Like a doctor.
Yeah.
Nobody knows nothing. You can jerk off and smoke a cigar under a blanket on a plane. Nobody knows nothing. Nobody knows nothing.
Smoking jerk off
All right.
on a plane?
They also have tobacco. They have E-cigs that have tobacco in them, and 24 milligrams, 16, 8, and 0. If you want to get the monkey off your back.
They have
Yeah, what's the-
cigarette version and cigar
Right.
version. not
What's
tobacco.
the zero? What's the zero thing? Is it?
No nicotine.
I
in
heard.
there.
I watched one of the podcasts. And you were talking about the zero.
Yeah, just if you like the taste, or if like
Yeah.
you've got, or if it's just the motion of
Anybody want a
smoking.
piece of brownie?
No, I'm good.
Just something
No,
to get your back.
not
to
even
the-
a-
I'll tell you, I had a bad experience. Our old friend Ralphie
this-
May. Oh yeah,
Sure.
he gave me one of those when it first came on the market, man.
You won't
about
be
you?
driving 2 hours if
Oh
you
my
have one
God!
of those.
I barely
You'll be
made it
at
down.
In-N-Out.
I
Just
barely
taste-
made it
just-
down from his house in the hills there
Just
to the
taste the
hotel.
I'm okay,
Yeah.
man. I had
Oh.
so much.
No, you didn't.
That was a rough night.
So you were there when they got him off the helicopter, off the ship?
I wasn't there. No, no, I wasn't there for that. Yeah, this was at his house, man. Yeah, no, I can't mess with edibles too much.
Use code word Joey's Church.
As long as they're strain specific. That's what.
These are Anarchy edibles.
Yeah.
You know what the strain is? Anarchy OG. Direct from fucking hell. This is the shit they gave Abe Lincoln before they shot him in the head. This is the shit. This is the shit. This is just the shit right here.
Ralphie had a whole carrot cake. I ate a whole
please.
carrot cake.
Listen, let me tell you
It's
something.
horrible.
These
delicious.
brownies from Anarchy edibles, yeah, the stars are great. The little baby stars are great.
When those big stars are fresh, oh my
The
god, they
Rice
pack a
Krispie
punch.
treats are great. But I'll tell you, these little brownies will put you in fucking Jupiter. Okay, you want to go outside and get a fucking pogo stick.
But you know, the great thing is that that's all you need to have probably one of your best nights sleep you've ever had. And like, why shouldn't anybody be able to experience that just once? To say, let me try this instead of this chemical concoction that you're giving me called Somas and Flexeril and
I watched one of the videos. I was in the video article,
Valium.
and he said that they were giving you arthritis medication that got recalled for something terrible.
Everything. They've used professional athletes to market every drug. Why would anybody take anything? The football players take it. The athletes take it. You know, that's what kills the pain. That's what they use, because that's what we talk about using. You know, because that's what they've given us. And all you got to do is take one bite of that, and you'll have sleep like a baby.
Joey doesn't take one bite.
Hey, some people build up a tolerance. Why can't you build up a tolerance to something that ain't going to kill you or give you another illness or
Yeah.
a disease?
Nobody's ever
It's
died from
America.
brownies, cocksucker.
Yeah, nobody.
Nobody goes to the hospital because they ate a brownie with reefer in it.
Well, they go. They just.
It's so funny. Like, here are these people. Like, I thought I was gonna have a stroke. It's like some old lady. Like, if you thought you were gonna have a stroke, you would have died. Okay, you would have had a heart attack. It obviously doesn't do anything but just give you a bad trip if you took too much or you had the wrong strain. These people go absolutely crazy in trying to demonize this, man. It's unreal.
Turley, you're a bad motherfucker.
And then nailed it life, Joey.
Huh?
Nailed it life.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. What the fuck are we doing here? It's Monday.
We're talking about the edibles, man.
Hold on one second.
Speaking of edibles,
You're throwing me off here. NailedItLife.com. Los Gummies Hermanos always coming at you like a fucking the big black kahuna. Whether it's the Gummies Hermanos or whether it's the new white chocolate line they have. What their specialty is the fucking vape. The vapor pen they got is top notch. Go to what is it? NailedItLife.com. And press on what?
Joey Diaz.
Joey Diaz and get 20% off your first order. It's a $50 fucking vapor pen. You get $40 fucking. You understand me?
What's the name?
NailedItLife.com. Tremendous.
I don't know that I've tried that one.
No, that's one time. We don't have none here because we gave them away to the blind kids over at the fucking church. They're over at the synagogue playing Beatles songs.
I would love to see like Jewish kids with the vapor pen, with like the little curly curls and the yarmulkes.
Just shaking their eyes. Where are you? Where are you? I smell a 20.
Oh, they're blind Jewish kids.
I don't fucking know. I didn't say that. Did I fucking say that?
It does wonders for eyes.
Why are you putting the kiss of death on me?
You never know.
Blind Jewish kids. I don't know blind Jewish kids around. Last guy who had blind Jewish kids around him was Jesus. Look what got him. Jesus used to walk around like three little Arabs with no eyeballs and shit. Look what happened. They put the fucking,
Nailed.
they put the fucking eyeball of death in him.
Yeah, they did.
And look what happened to him.
Poor Jesus.
Poor fucking Jesus. I love you
Only
guys.
hit reefer.
My
Where's
brother,
my baby Jesus.
tell him the name of the organization. Fuck, those brownies are good.
Well, Daniel got me here. The group that we're working with, justcoolme.org, is an effort based around another natural element. We're combining all these things, with the ultimate goal is to create a center for NFL football players where we could sit around and
I'm sorry, he's just eating another animal.
eat brownies and, get our minds right. We're tired of all this, man. And justcoolme.org was a group started by Daniel Martinez. And
He's a nice guy. He's emailed me a few times.
great guy. And he created this foundation, Unreal Foundation. And he's kicking ass, man. It's really hard to find people to do really well with charitable projects. And this guy's out there hustling, man.
Thank God you like weed
Yeah.
because you're big, man.
Yeah.
Like with Andre Carter.
I know where you're at. It's
If Andre
cool.
Carter wasn't here,
Yeah.
I would never do that. He would eat me. Oh, can you imagine? Just laughing at a guy who could kill us.
Hey, hopefully, at the end of the day, with the other group, the GridIron Cannabis Coalition, we can resolve these issues and get the right levels that can be perfect, so you don't go over,
Oh, God, they killed me today.
and we can get to the science of this thing and resolve some issues, so we can keep playing football.
That's right. We believe in that fucking right here. Your shoulder hurts. Have a fucking THC lollipop.
Hey, why not?
I'll put you in your hotel room. We'll get your little Chinese girl to cover them over and rub your feet.
Honor your benefits and give your players the medicine they need.
Where do you keep finding more brownies?
Yeah, he's like pulling them out of anywhere, like everywhere over here. He's got a brownie.
You should see his bag when he
hell?
comes in. It takes him like 5 minutes to unpack.
You going to kettlebell class tomorrow?
11 a.m.
I gotta sweat this shit out.
Yeah, right.
And then I'll start all over
So I
again.
say you gotta get them those kettlebells in here. Yeah, you need a whole cage and a trainer.
Do you work out when you're high?
Nowadays it's so medicinal that yes, because I have to build up my tolerances to a level where, because if you work out and you train hard, then you sweat a lot, then you're bleeding out THC, you're bleeding out CBD, everything else that's in the cannabis plant. So it's coming out of your system. It doesn't stay in like other drugs do. You can rid yourself of marijuana by going to the sauna in a day. It's going to maybe stick around in your hair, but it's going to get out of your system. I mean, I had guys passing drug tests left and right in college by just drinking a gallon of water the night after they smoked, and go hit in the sauna and get a good workout in, and just sweat their balls off. So, I work out. I now with certain strains, I get myself right before I go to the gym and train, because I know I'm going to be getting it out of my system, and I have to go through that whole process again to get it back to where it's good. There's optimal levels to this as a medication, and if you train hard and you work out, it's you then get sobered up real quick, and you're not high anymore. You're not necessarily high. You just certain things start to creep back in. When you got ailments, you got depression and anxiety and all these other things that start to weigh in on a sober mind. You got to medicate, man. You got to medicate. So now it's a constant deal.
You start hearing voices and shit. You're like, where did I fucking go wrong?
Like, what the fuck is this guy talking about?
You
Jesus
fucking
Christ,
pot
he
cookie
won't
here.
shut up about technicalities. I just want to get high.
No. Oh my God, I'm just howling.
See, I can't do that no more. It sucks.
Why not?
I passed that level because I'm very strain specific. This brain injury has caused everything to become ultra sensitive. So anything, caffeine or chocolate or other things that just spark things in the brain, omega-3s, that thin the blood, stuff like that. It preys on the brain injury in a big way, so
Hilarious.
yeah.
I think this
I'm very strain specific.
What strain are you looking to get?
In the sativas, I've found Jack Herrera and Dutch Treat are highly medicinal. And then my indica strain is San Fernando Valley. It's in the family of the OG Kush and department,
Well, you know what?
And that's a badass indica
It's your
strain.
lucky fucking night.
Yeah.
Because the Star of Death is right from the Indica Valley that you want.
You got the San Fernando Valley?
Listen, this fucking Star of Death was invented in the San Fernando Valley. You understand? You eat a piece of that fucking...
It's got to be that strain, though.
Listen, though.
Yeah.
You eat a piece of this Star.
I'll take a
You
piece
go-
home with me because
you
I
go-
can't drive with it.
All right, no, you go home, you eat it tonight before you go nappy no time.
Yeah.
You wake up in the morning, you're going to be jumping up and down like fucking... like fucking...
Love it.
I don't even know, like...
A blind Jew.
Like a blind Jewish kid
like a blind Jewish kid.
singing the Beatles.
This is the shit that. This is the shit right here. This is what they have to pass out in all the locker rooms. Anarchy edibles, stars of death.
No, like if you were a Charger player and you had a medical card, could you smoke weed or no?
No. Or Broncos or Seahawks.
Nobody. That's the other side of this whole fucking thing
Yeah.
that people don't understand. That you can't.
And the shittiest
We
part
don't
is
give a fuck what it does. Inflammatory after a game, you smoke a
Yeah.
few numbers, takes your mind off the pain, whatever. They don't give a fuck. Bro.
well,
They don't give
as long as you pass that test at the beginning of the year, and you're not gonna, you don't get arrested for it or get in trouble with it, then you can use it. But, you're not supposed to. I
You're
mean,
not supposed to. You got to
no.
use on the down
They'll
low.
give you this big old jar of fucking pills and say, here, go home with that, instead of, here, take this vape pen and just go chill out for a while. It's ridiculous.
All right, well, we're gonna see you again, dog.
I hope so, man. I appreciate the
Where
invite.
you at? Where you at?
Riverside.
No. I'm talking. Where can they find you? All
GridIronCannabis.com.
right.
Check it out.
You got a headache? You get to this website. He'll send you a fucking joint of some shit that. Forget about it. This is what they gave the Vietnam kids.
We're working on it. We're going to Israel. We're going to go talk to that guy over there. That's,
Take Lee with you.
Yeah.
Lee is
there you go.
Israeli. That's why the flag is
We
there.
need an
Everything is there
escort.
to cover a hole in the wall.
Yeah.
Lee rides deep.
Just don't tell them you
Yeah.
ate hummus. If you eat hummus over there, just keep it on the down
No,
low.
don't be eating
well,
hummus.
He'll
They're-
do a hummus test on you.
Israel's progressing science on marijuana to unbelievable levels.
See, Lee, you go. See, I'm prepping you to be a fucking czar of weed in Israel. You don't even know it. See what I'm telling you? You go
I thought
there-
about moving to Israel before.
You could talk to fucking the guys at Anarchy Edibles.
Edibles. You
And
won't
Tom
be able
can
to
make
do
you
International.
the
Yeah.
special Star of Death, Jesus style, like a picture, like a picture of Jesus hanging inside the middle of the star, like just hanging. And you go to Israel and pass those fucking things out. Who's better than you? Who do you think becomes president of Israel? You pass out stars in the middle of Jesus hanging. Who? Nobody. That's who. I
A
love you.
picture of bloody Jesus in the star.
Fuck it. I love you, motherfuckers. Next issue. Go to nextissue.com.
Molded.
/Joey.
/Joey. Go to onnit.com.
Code word church.
Nailed It Life. And my main people over there, E-cigs.com. I want to thank Kyle Turley for coming up. And my little brother, Lee Syatt. We'll see you Wednesday afternoon or Thursday afternoon.
Peace.
Hit it, Lee.